just check that box that says allow every time, but next time. Okay, guys, so you had quite a little time. Um, okay, after being to the um, neutral Illithid trading outpost and acquiring for yourselves a warbot, you made your way into the outer fringes of the wild space system and confronted a horrific cosmic horror, a gargantuan ship killer being from the deep far realms that is a sort of planar threat or a wild space threat. Very, very dangerous. And you all, well, your crew took it upon itself to defeat the menace and claim the bounty for yourselves. Um, with that, you went into terrible battle where Ed showed off his piloting skills, where your Xeno termination friend showed off his both bowman and barbarian skills. Bison and Zalace and who else did we have? Uh, what's your name? Not Rakuzzle, but
Harsh. Harsh was with
Arsh. I don't know how I missed that. It's such a catchy name. Anyway, everybody on the crew performing their jobs optimally, doing their very best, working hard, and all came together in an extraordinary team effort, managed to defeat the cosmic horror because there were some close calls on the dice, my friends. That's all I will say. I rolled some stuff, and you only lost 3 crew members. And rather than subjecting them to the magics, shall we call them, of the Illithid to bring them back, you decided to give them what all true sailors of the wild space would please, a sort of goodbye, and their bodies sort of return to the wild space system, and returned now to the Rock of Bral without any extra big issues, with a great deal of gold to spend, the parts of the Cosmic Horror sold off to the Illithid, a great bounty achieved, both from procuring the weapons contract with or successfully shipping off the weapons to um, for the Underbaron in the Rock of Bral, but also for actually succeeding in the contract. Glory and wealth is to your name. And that is where we are today. So, you guys have a great deal to spend. The new Dawn is going to be retrofitted with a couple extra goodies, which is going to take a little bit to do. So the party has a month on the Rock of Bral to meander and do what they please. Um, you guys have taken some time perhaps to figure out what those things may be. Um, and let's hop to it. So that is a lot of time. Of course, we are using standard wild space days. So we're gonna call that 30 days. So a standard month. And all of you can use that as you please. And I have many downtime suggestions if you're looking for things to do. Perhaps all of you have figured out some stuff that you would like to achieve. I am here to help. So, and by no means does anyone have to feel like they have to get all of their stuff in one round. If you guys have stuff you want to do and come back and use the rest of your time after some other people have had their turn, feel free. We're going to play it real loose to make sure everyone gets their time in. So, who has plans other than, party like a rock star that first night?
Ed's got some priorities he's got to handle.
Hell yeah.
First things first.
First things first.
The day after, he's going to get a new tattoo. Or his tattoos. He helped kill a giant fucking thing in space. That's for someone who gets tattoos for a fun night at the tavern, that's more reason. So, Ed's going to do one of those.
All right, absolutely. What are you thinking? What does that tattoo look like? So, and I will ask, what kind of tattoo artist are you going for here? Are you going for like the guy across the street from the dive bar, or are you going for something a little bit more midtown?
So I think Ed doesn't really care so much as like it's not so much like oh your reputation or whatnot. It's more like if he sees their work, he's like, oh that's awesome. But before I delve into that, I want like above the table. Um, I'm picturing them like little rock etchings, and there's like rock standing or whatever. But like that's
Mhm.
like how does that like does that make it tricky to just get it somewhere random? Does he have to go to the same people or because that's just flavoring in my head, but like
Mhm.
considering.
No, no, it's an important flavor. I guess my question to you is, like, we know what your mini looks like, so I guess that's my question. Does your the place where you want to get tattooed, is that stone or is that flesh?
It's gonna be it's Ed's like Ed's skin. It's all over like
Yeah, Ed's skin is
Ed,
just hard
yeah,
rock. But
yeah, like it but and like when he digs into it, it kind of looks like smoother in there. So it's like if he has layers, which like that's
mm,
who knows, he's just kind of dug into there and he's kind of seen them. Um,
mhm.
but that's how I envision it in my head. Like he's like
Okay,
take your
so
your
here's
typical like go
yeah,
for it.
yeah, yeah. So here's what we will say. Here's what we will say. Because you've had many tattoos, you know how it works, and you've probably figured it out enough that you can explain it to whatever tattoo artist that you go to. You have a sort of sediment crust to your body, and in order to get that tattooed, that crust needs to be like chiseled because you are a flesh and bone person. Like it's like
Yeah,
if you
for
chisel
sure.
that sediment away, it's not gone forever.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can never restore hit points. Uh, so what you have to do is you have to sort of carve away the sediment to get to that more softer, like you say, under more colorful layer, which is more flesh, and then
Yeah.
tattoo that, and then the coloration will extend to the geode that forms over top after healing.
Sick.
Um,
That's cool. I
cool. So yeah.
like comparing them to real life. It's like it's weird, but it's like these tattoos that like a lot of basketball players get, where it's like they actually like scar their skin. That's not quite what Ed's doing. Ed's like somewhere in between there, but rock
Mhm.
guy D&D. But yeah, how you describe it sounds awesome, and it'll definitely be one that like while Ed's covered in the he's always gonna find a new spot and he is like I tried to show him there with a little darker. He's gonna get a remodeling by the way, like
I love
usually
this mini. I think it's great.
yeah.
It looks like you're
But
out
it's
of
like
Ratchet. You look like a character out of Ratchet and Clank. I love it.
yeah, that was
Oh
definitely
my
the
god, yeah, he
goal.
does.
So you see, like I use the ones on Hero Forge, but they're kind of grayer like that. That's what I'm trying to show as tattoos, but they're a bunch of little small ones. I can't really
I got
show
you.
that with Hero Forge as well as I want to, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah. It's a little more
but
difficult.
but yeah, that's what Ed's doing first. He's gonna go get a big old. I think it'll be like um, honestly, probably like a big eye and then like tentacles off of it. You know what I mean? Or
Okay,
like
sort of
something
like
like that.
not quite a beholder, but like an eye,
Yeah,
some aberrant. Okay, I got you. I got you.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you go. Maybe you like sort of carve off the sediment yourself before, because like you
No,
know.
makes it easier.
Actually, that probably hurts. Probably
It
because you
probably
have
hurts.
nerve endings. Yeah, it's, um,
He'll leave it to the professionals.
okay, you leave it to a professional. You go in, you explain the process, and there's many different variants of races. So tattoo artists are very well prepared to function with more than just basic sort of flesh creatures. Um, yep, and they go to work. They probably hit you with a painkiller because
Yeah.
that's like carving off your upper, like not even your epidural, just like straight up like carving flesh off you. So they just hit you with a painkiller. And yeah, carve that off. They go under and start working away. You just find a guy whose art you like. So we'll say that that's kind of, um, uh, I guess what kind of style are you going for? You're going for like just sort of like line work, like kind of almost graffiti esque, or are you doing something like a little bit more detail?
Normally his ones are just like line works, graffiti s, but this one he's gonna get a little bit of like put a stamp on it,
Got it. You
and
treat yourself. Treat yourself.
yeah, because like
Yeah.
he never there's been a lot of running away and maybe like throwing like something at someone from a vehicle, but Ed's never been in a space battle like that before. So
Fair
I think
enough.
this means something to him. So yeah, he's gonna
Yeah.
get there. Probably like somewhere like this area, like the elbow or the
Okay.
tricep, somewhere there.
Ouch. Okay, so we will say that for this guy we'll call it 8 gold.
Okay,
And
cool.
it'll be a good tattoo. It's gonna stand out. It's gonna look really nice.
Shit. All right.
Yep, and you get yourself tatted up. And over like the next day, the sediment will sort of, or probably takes a little longer. It sort of scars, but it heals over. It takes a little while, but yeah, eventually the sediment begins to regrow over, and maybe even layers itself over to sort of match the tattoo stylization. So it still rocky and forms out, but has that sort of aberrant appearance to it. Very cool. Very cool.
Awesome.
Cool.
I got a bunch of other stuff, but tag me out. Someone go next.
Sure, sure. Who else has some stuff?
I suppose I'll go.
Right.
I think the thing I want most right now is a bag for Etherith.
A bag for Etherith. You mean like a saddlebag kind of situation?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. No problem there. We'll just take out basic standard saddlebag prices here. Just gonna pull up PHP real quick. Let's see. Mounts and vehicles. Okay, let's see here. Saddlebag. Easy enough. You can pick it up for 4 gold.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah. Saddlebags are popped on the back of your dragon. Your dragon, being the sort of obedient lunar dragon that it is, takes them well, and the spines on its back sort of help keep it in place.
What's the capacity on that? Because can't find saddlebags on. Oh, yeah, never mind.
See.
No, I found it.
Oh, cool, cool. Yep, that should be a standard bag that you can
Yeah.
fill up. Cool, 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 cool. All right, Earth is saddlebagged up. Is there anything else?
The only other thing I got on my little list is training Etherith.
Training. All right, cool. What you got in mind?
Not so much language, because I mean, Etherith only knows Draconic and seems to be figuring out in his own time. So this is more combat training,
Okay.
teaching Etherith how bipedal folk like to fight.
Got you. Got you. Understood. And yeah, we can treat that as a sort of like. I'm not gonna make you dedicate like any significant amount of downtime to it. Whether it be by the power invested in you by a certain entity, or by your ranger proficiency, or maybe both. Ephrath really picks up on what you're putting down really quick, especially when it comes to direction, combat direction. Obviously, learning skills and things will take its own time, but as far as like stuff like that, direction in combat picks it up really quick. And you sort of say like, oh, okay, use the sword and shield. You want to get around the shield, hit over here, and you guys work. You guys work better than most do. Just like that's all there is to it. Your companionship and your skill at working together is unparalleled.
Good.
Yeah.
Someone
Picks
else
up on what you're
can,
putting down really quick.
someone else can deliver their downtime activity.
Okay. Yeah, we'll move right along. Is there anybody else who has stuff they want to do?
Yeah, go on then. Firstly, I would like to go to the guild and see Marilyn Sandyfoot or anybody there. Is on the band of the barrows. And see if there's any not easy work, but like short couple of days work sort of thing that he's got that's on the go.
All right, yeah, you find your way to the underbosses, Zalace, and if you ever want to make yourself a hero forge for Zalace, that is always welcome.
Yes, I
but
will.
no,
Yeah.
Yeah, but no pressure if you don't want to either. That's not a requirement by any means. But yeah, you find your way to Meriden Sandyfoot, who welcomes you in with open arms and says, Zalace, good to see you. Come on in. I'll have to say, you set up a kind little rocket with the new dome there. Very impressed with the work you and yours did.
Well, I'm pleased it was beneficially mutual. Or mutual beneficial. Yeah. Sorry.
I understand. Oh, it took a hit or two in the head, perhaps. No, I joke. But now you're back. I assume that means you're interested in a little bit more, shall we call it, camaraderie?
Certainly. We've got a bit of downtime, so I'm most probably here for the next month or so, 30 days.
Excellent.
So yeah,
well,
if there's a little bit of work.
Absolutely, well, consider me a fence to be utilized at your pleasure, Mr. Zalace. My only stipulation with the goods you steal on my behalf is that you do it from folk who have too much, and not from folk who do not have enough.
Of course, that's fine by me.
Very good, very good, very good. And yeah, he'll be happy to hand you leads and direct you down the path of crime. Yeah, you may dedicate some time to that. So, for the sake of crime work, you can dedicate any number of weeks you wish. Maybe best to do it a week at a time, because who knows how well it will go. But why don't we hit the first week with it so you know what you're in for. So, he gets you started. Your character's probably very used to this, but we're going to walk you through crime in the, in this sense. So, because you've done so much good work with him, I'm going to forego the gold piece requirement to gather information on potential targets, because you're doing this on behalf of his guild, so the resource cost is waived. And the resolution is follows. You must spend that week working with his contacts, his information gatherers, and such. And you yourself may choose which target, what kind of loot value target you want. Obviously, the more expensive, the more difficult it's going to be. So, you choose. Would you like to rob from... So I'm going to waive the struggling merchant, because that's not something Sandyfoot wants stolen from. So you may choose from a prosperous merchant, a noble, or one of the richest figures on the entire Rock of Bral. And you may pick between those three.
Let's split the difference and we'll go for the noble.
All right, you go for the noble. Fair enough. So you spend the week preparing, and then the time comes for the heist. A little bit of a higher DC, to be warned. But yeah, let's get to it. So I'm going to require from you 3 checks. Depending on how well you do on these checks, will accumulate to the level of victory here. So, the first thing I require from you is, of course, a stealth check.
+5, so yeah, oh my god, can't count, 22.
22 stealth. Excellent. The next I will require a thieves' tools check, please. Cracks blocks.
What does that come under? Just a normal roll.
You, as a rogue, should be proficient. Do you have expertise? I know rogues get the option for that.
No, I'm just proficient in them.
Alright, so that should be dexterity plus proficient then.
Proficiency. Sorry, just the dex proficiency, yeah?
Yep, dexterity modifier plus your proficiency modifier.
So that's 3. I can't find the proficiency modifier.
At this level, I think it's still 2. Can anybody confirm that?
I think so, yeah. I think
It should be at the top of the
+2.
page. Well, if you have a dexterity skill that you're just proficient in, not expertise, you can just roll that instead. It'd be the same modifier. So sleight of hand, acrobatics.
Right, sleight of hand. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
So that'll be a total of 16 on that.
16, understood. And for your final check, sir, you may pick between 3 of them. You may either do an investigation, a perception, or a deception check. It is your choice which one you would like to roll.
Deception, investigation, or deception, yeah?
Yep, you may pick which one you'd like to roll.
We'll go with deception.
Deception, go for it.
14. Oh, no.
14. Okay, so... So this was a little more difficult. Luckily for you, so you go in, you're having trouble cracking the locks, you get caught, they're like, what are you doing? And you try and, deceive your way out of the trouble, you try and lie your way out of it, and they are not buying it. And you make a break for it. All the guards are in an uproar, but luckily enough, you are stealthy enough to make the getaway. So unfortunately, the heist does fail, but you are not arrested, which is great news.
Yeah, that's all good. Okay.
You can always attempt another heist in later weeks, but that will cover your first 5 of your 30 days.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, I'll pass and then I'll come back to whatever.
Understood. Okay, who else has something they'd like to do with their downtime and all of their monies?
Sure, I'll go.
All right, we'll get you in there soon, Basan. Yeah, go ahead, Chaplain.
No, she can go.
No,
No,
go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. Oh, you Chaplain.
We'll hit Basan next. She's on the roster for next.
Yeah. So the first thing I wanted to do was stop by the Edge and see my Thrycreen bartender friend.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe his name was.
Yeah, let's see. Edge. Yeah, you head in there and you see the somewhat chatty Vika Thrycreen bartender who welcomes you in and says telepathically to you, "Welcome, Chaplain, but are you Chaplain? Or is that the identity they simply give to the medal that you wear upon your body?"
He kind of tilts his head a little bit and he says, "Oh, no, of course I'm Chaplain."
Of course you are. But I wonder what it is you've come to the Edge for. Drink? Discussion? Perhaps a ski shoot?
I thought that I might spend a little time getting acquainted with the crowd. It turns out we're going to be here on the rock for a while. And I thought maybe I would sort of make this my home base for interacting with the public.
Well, very well. We'll be very happy to have you here to explore. Always welcome, Mr. Fool's Gold. And you are welcome within. If you wanted to spend some time trying to make some allies on the Rock of Bral, we could call that some carousing downtime if you're into that.
Yeah, I have a couple of specific types of people I thought I'd be looking for.
Okay.
Here at the Edge, do you ever have any live entertainment?
Of course.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd be interested in seeing that. When's the next show coming up?
He goes, well, we have shows every night. And yeah, there will be some people here. So let me walk you through the carousing because you do get to pick who you're trying to get in contact with and carouse with. Okay. So how that works is you pick like what class of individuals you want to hang out with for the week, and you spend an amount of gold based on that. So here at the Edge, this is in the middle city, which is considered the middle class. So that would be 50 gold for the week, just sort of buying people drinks, eating food, carousing. In the middle class, and you can potentially build contacts with the middle class, which include guild members, spellcasters, town officials, or other folk who frequent such well-kept establishments, including, indeed, musicians. And if you had any other ideas, we're certainly welcome to that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me spend my first week carousing with them then.
Fantastic. So, if you would be so kind as to spend 50 gold pieces for all of the carousing and fine drink and food and so on, I would need you to make. Let's see here. Carousing, a character you don't have a background. All right, make me a persuasion check to see how well it goes for you.
Okay. $14.
14. You do indeed make an allied contact, and how allied contacts work is that basically this person's your buddy, they're your friend, they'll hang out with you, and they can give you information, whatever. But alternatively, you can ask them to perform for you a very specific favor that may be like sort of pushing the bounds of your friendship and may sort of require them to step back from you after the favor is done, but in the midterm they will do that. So a good example is like if you become friends with a guard, like you could be buddies with them and they'll tell you about events and whatever. But if you're like, I need you to like not show up to work this day or like let us in the back door so we could break in, you might be like, oh, that's tough, but I'll do it because we're buddies, but I'm gonna have to like sort of disassociate from you after that. So that's kind of how contacts work. So you get one contact from the middle class. Do you have a preference?
I think maybe a performer for sure.
Certainly. Let's see what kind of performer that is. Okay, I'm kind of looking at that. What would be a good kind of performer here? Screw it. You find, there's this one performer, very unusual to see out here in Wild Space, but you do see a tabaxi, who's just playing away on the lute and is playing some music, and you buy him some drinks, and you guys hang out for the week. And this guy's name is Wildstorm.
Okay.
And he sort of laughs and carouses with you. So you may add to your ally sheet. You have the Rock of Bral, Entertainer, Wildstorm the Tabaxi. He's your buddy now. You can have a number of sort of carousing contacts equal to your charisma modifier plus 1.
Okay.
All right, contact made.
Yep, one contact made. Okay. Let me check one thing real quick, and I might be done with this.
Okay.
Yeah, let's call that the week then.
Okay, yep, that's the first of your week. No problem. Why don't we hop over to Bassan, who's been waiting so very patiently. Bassan, my artillerist friend, what would you like to do with your downtime?
Okay. So, I probably should have contacted you this week, because the only thing I've been able to
That's okay.
The only thing I've been able to think of is something that I might not be able to do. Because the only thing that she's kind of, other than supporting Lunar Bow, the only thing she's got going on is trying to track down that monastery.
Gotcha.
Right?
You can just, yeah.
So like she's got a couple shopping things like she wants to do, but other than that, do I need to try to hop a flight or ship to Trill for the month and come back? Like what?
It's certainly within your purview. If you decided that you wanted to take off for the month and go do something else in Wild Space, that is absolutely acceptable. You are by no means bound to stay near the New Dawn.
How close are we to Trill?
Pretty close. The Rock of Bral is built on a rather large comet that follows a sort of asteroid system that follows the moon that surrounds Toril, so it's very close.
Are there regular passages that go like? It seems like there'd be like, I don't want to say commuter trips, but
kind of, yeah. I mean, yeah, like absolutely. Toril is like an hour from the Rock of Bral on a cruise speed ship, so it's not far at all.
All right.
And I don't think there's like buses by any means, but you could certainly like pay a couple silver and hop on a ship and, you know.
That is pretty much what I was thinking. All right, so to start with, let's do this then. Have I seen Ed tinker? Like he's like tinkered with things pretty openly. Like it's. Do I need to make a perception check to know that he?
You guys live you live on the same. I'm not gonna call it a prison, but you live on the same 3 decks. So I'm sure you're all quite aware of each other's business, unless someone was keeping it private.
And he worked very openly in front of Basan when he did those infusions. Like,
that's true.
He did it right in front of her.
So I think Basan is going to start out by going to find Ed, and she's going to bring the armor and the sword.
Okay. So Basan approaches you, Ed, as Basan does, in a very intimidating way. And it sort of displays to you some very unusual items. There is what looks to be the hilt of some clearly magical, damaged but magical sword hilt, and a piece of armor, both also damaged. They both look old. They both look damaged. They also look to be from a culture that I think you would recognize, given your background. It's Gith adjacent.
Okay.
I want to get these repaired, and nobody knows how to fix it, and I don't know if you would know where to find someone who would know how to fix it.
So while Basan's talking, Ed's just trying one of these, just like examining it. What Ed's looking for specifically is usually, if it's something very unique and special, builders leave a signature. You know, they leave some sort of like, I did this, I was here. You know, usually also in case someone finds it, needs to fix it, and so that's what Ed's looking for right now. While totally listening, like very much so, but like he's already getting to it, sort of deal.
And then as he's looking through it, Bisan will go over everything she knows about the Shasakul.
Got it. But before we do that, I wanna see how much Ed surprises us with his lore. Ed, if you'd be so very kind, let's call it. I want to say either an Arcana or an Investigation check. Are you proficient with Smith's tools?
Yes, I am.
Then you may take advantage.
Okay, cool. Arcana or Investigation, they're both the same, so.
Okay, yeah, so your choice.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So roll with your one.
Okay, that's going to be a 12 plus 6, 18.
18! Yeah, you hand them over, Basan, but before you get talking, Ed, you would immediately identify that this is clearly Gith make, clearly created by Gith smiths and Gith arcanists. You are well aware that a large part of both Gith cultures is the utilization of a very rare, well, it's a rare weapon, a rare magic items known as sunblades, which basically harness traditionally They harness the power of radiance, sunlight, but Gith utilize them differently. They utilize the power of psionic energy to create their blades, rather than relying on the enchantment themselves. So the blade very much springs from whatever gets wielding at their own psionic ability. As you're poring over this item, it doesn't look to be Githyanki nor Githzerai make. Like there's very specific, like you're looking for the maker's label. And Githzerai and Githyanki both use the same script and speak with the same language, but they speak backwards, kind of. So Githyanki will write like, I am going to the store, and Githzerai will write, to the store I will go. Sort of, and that's how they differentiate their languages. That's how you identify Githzerai versus Githyanki. But it doesn't follow either language pattern. It's very unique, very strange. It's definitely made by, you don't know what, but it's made by some faction outside of either culture. But by Gith, nonetheless. And it's a very unique item. And if you were to try and repair the blade, like, you could, but it would be very crude. You would have to, like, rip it apart and put it back together in a way that suits how you want it made. And it would almost certainly feel like a violation of the original creator. You know that you need, like, a specialized Gith smith from either this special culture or one of the other cultures, Githyanki or Githzerai. So you could repair it, but it would take quite a bit longer than if you found a traditional Gith smith. The armor similar with the armor, you could repair it, but it wouldn't have the same attention to culture, stylizations. A little bit easier with the armor, because that's like a repair. You could do that pretty quick. The actual blade itself, you'd have to like strip it, change the parts out, repair it, and basically turn it into a sun sword rather than like a Gith side blade. And that's what you know. And then, Basan, you may indeed share the lore that you know. And maybe you'd like to actually do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Githyanki and Githzerai were one race when the Illithid enslaved us, and when we got out, we didn't agree, and there was eternal enmity. And the Githzerai, we stayed to limbo, mostly, except sometimes things happen. But there is a group, I think, located on, what was the name? It was above the table. It was outside of Limbo's. Maybe the place, his name begins with a Z.
Oh shit! All right, hang on. I'll go find it. She knows where the major monastery is. I just am finding it. You want to know the neutral one that we talked about, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Looking. It's called Zeus.
Zeus.
Xaos.
Nice.
So
a strange gate town called Zeus.
On Zeus, there is a group that seems to be a combination of the two, like a unification against the Illithid.
Huh.
And that's what this is from. I thought it was a myth, but...
Oh, yeah, this is...
And then she'll convey the lore about the Knight Anarch. Something. Very big person, Knight Anarch something or other, whose name I can't remember, but this was his armor.
As she relays history, Ed'll, like, he's sort of playing dumb, but it's more pure respect. But, like, you might get wind that he knows a little thing or two about gifts. And but all that said, I do want to help. I really do, but it's doesn't feel like my place to do so. If that makes sense. Something like this with Basan, it's very particular on who will work on it and for what purpose. Which, as the person carrying it, feel it's going to be yours to decide. However, in your search of finding a builder, I will gladly lend my expertise as best I can. I really would. And if it was anything else, I'd happily touch on it. But it's more of a
I know you can't fix it. I was hoping you maybe knew Gith Smith. I don't see many of my people.
Make me a history check, Ed. And by the way, Basan, it was Knight Anarch Tron.
Thank you.
The wielder of these effects.
15.
The late Knight Archon Tron. 15 total. Yeah. I'm not gonna throw any specific names around because you have a bit of a storied past, and I don't want to go into too many details with that. But I would say that if you hooked up with old contacts, yeah, you could easily find it. But you probably know them being smugglers. They are not. They're Githyank.
Yeah,
And they might covet such items and not wish to repair it and give it back, because that's not really what Githzera or Githyanki do.
I do. It's just, then it'll take a moment looking at Basan. They're Githyanki. And he kind of says that anywhere else that might be like, oh shit, but like, Basan will get it.
She just nods once.
So, I don't think I need to say the rest, but it might, it might complicate things, but it might give you answers as well. And sometimes I find that the best answers do have a high risk. So
I'm only so willing to take risks with this, but thank you.
of course, it's as I said, I will help as best I can, and I'll keep pulling feelers out whenever I'm around. I plan on taking some of our downtime to sort of dig in the trenches. So if I find anything, you'll be the first to know. In this regard, of course.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right.
Get back to the items and stuff.
Okay.
So if we want to, I don't know how much you want to go through, because this is probably going to be just a sequence of her trying to track down things to find out what she can do.
Yeah. No, it's entirely up to each player. We got a month, so if anyone wants to, take that all down at once or do it in chunks, that's totally fine.
I think the next person that she'd probably go see would be the beholder.
Okay. All right. Love it. Luigi.
Luigi.
Yes, Luigi. Yeah, you head down to the lower city and you find the Happy Beholder Tavern. You walk in, and sure as you can rely on, the locally famous Large Luigi, as he's known, is floating around, telekinetically serving drinks here and there. A being of significant psionic ability itself. What would you... Yeah, and you approach?
Oh, sit down at the bar, order a drink. I've been here before.
It goes, welcome back, welcome back. What would you like to drink?
Hey, Luigi, ale would be good.
Ale it is. A mug of ale is floated over to you as one of its eyes sort of directs towards the bar. Fills up an ale, brings it over to you psychically. That's 4 copper. He says, "Excellent, good to see you." Yes, and then he'll kind of float about to the other customers. Kind of a life of the party kind of guy, always here and there. But you flag him down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Says, "What can I do for you? More than just an ale?"
Information, if you happen to have, do you know of any Githzerai smiths? Even on Chiril.
What was the question? One more time.
Githzerai smith.
Githzerai smith on Toril? You must be crazy. They move and they come and they go. They don't. I don't know of any outposts. But if you're lucky enough to run into one of their warships, they should be easy enough to find. Just look for everything that has any semblance of life or instinct of survival running in the other direction, including field mice.
Yes, my people have a reputation.
Oh no, not so much a reputation, but just there. Anyway, he just kind of moves on, and he goes, but no, I don't know of any. I haven't heard any news of any outposts. They say that there has been some Githzerai sightings in the flow lanes between here and Oerth.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, come again. I know much about all sorts of things. But I'll give you a proper term from that. He said Oerth, but what he meant to say was... I'm gonna go look at my big old Astral Sea map that I made for myself. Get out of here. Okay, where are you? Come on, there we are. You're in realm space. He would say gray space. He would go, yes, we've seen in the flow lanes between here and gray space. There's been some Githzerai sightings.
All right. Thank you.
Hunting the illithid from cluster space, no doubt.
It's a good time.
If you say so. Anything else?
No. She'll finish her drink and probably go back to the ship.
Fair enough. Okay, who else? Who else has got stuff they want to do? Yes, Apoxy. You, Apoxy, I need to deal with you because you've never been here before. You step off into essentially like a Tortuga of sorts. A little bit of a Tortuga, maybe a little bit of a Nassau sort of situation for space pirates. You do not see any guards wandering the streets. You don't see any official law patrolling around, but it seems to function regardless. People peddle their wares in the lower city, the middle city. There seems to be an upper district that maybe is a little bit more civilized. But it is a sprawling city with endless interests and things to explore, from spacefaring guilds to item procurement shops to just larger markets. It is a sprawling rock of Bral. And is there anything you'd like to do?
First off, coming off of the ship, Epoxy thinks that this is self-sustaining based on tourism.
Okay.
And is immediately gonna go to a very populated place, like a tavern,
okay.
or like a a market of some kind.
Got it. So you step off the way, and the very first thing you'll see is you enter into this friendly little community where there's many halflings standing along the road. They kind of see you and they kind of, whoa, your approach is there's not many warforged around, and they
Almost
say,
stepped
no,
on you. I'm
great.
sorry.
That's offensive. No, I'm kidding. And they go, cookies for sale, flowers for sale, cup of copper for gift baskets for your crew members, and they're just selling little knickknacks and doodads along the side of the road. You may feel free to purchase if you wish. The little peddlers as you go.
I will buy one tiny one.
Tiny what? Would you like a cookie or a flower, or what would you like?
One of each.
One of each? Why don't we say, just mark off like a silver, and you buy like a couple of cool things. We'll say you buy a flower, a gift basket, 2 cookies, and a loaf of bread.
Okay.
So you just got all this shit in your house.
I got something for a picnic.
I don't eat as you wander around. But the next thing you see immediately after making your way through that little enclave, shall we call it, is the lesser markets.
Right.
It's a sort of small. It's decent in size. It's a little shabby, but it's still well enough. Most of the structures are rickety stalls with small merchants peddling wares. You see the clientele mostly seems to be from the surrounding neighborhoods. A lot of spacefarers just kind of wander on by. But also a couple of new arrivals such as yourselves might find themselves of interest here.
I would like to talk to the most bizarre person here.
Incredible. Let's see. Put me through my paces. You arrive. The most interesting person here. Let's see. Most interesting person here.
Oh, I should have specified.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'm just gonna.
No, this is very epoxy thing.
That's absolutely. I'm just gonna pull up a little generator here, and maybe I'll let the generator decide for us. Generate. Boring. 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 Still boring. There we go. You see one stall where there is a man with sort of green, almost seaweed-like hair, with sort of grayish aqua skin and bright, not glowing by any means, but sort of bright blue sapphire-like eyes. And he wears armor that is very sort of formed out of like seashells, couple shells, almost like ghillie suit a little bit. Looks to be like some kind of aquatic race of individual, and he sticks out like a sore thumb because there ain't no water on this rock.
You there, fish.
Turns around and looks at you with the utmost offense. He goes, "What do you want, Tin Can?"
Pleasure having a nickname. Anyways.
Uh-huh. What do you want?
Do you know anything about Terrell?
He goes, yeah, I mean, I was born there.
Tell me all about it.
Make me a persuasion check.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Will a 9 do?
He flips you off and runs away.
Wait, you just leave your stand? I look at the stand to see what there is.
I don't think he works there. I think he's like someone who's
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess next up, some kind of adventure or some person that just got off of their ship as well.
All right, like with someone else equally strange, I assume.
Yeah.
All right, someone else strange. Okay. You see, seemingly accompanied by a number of clerics, you see this maybe like late teens, early 20s human girl on appearance, but she's not human. She has beautiful gold blonde hair that almost seems to sparkle in the light. Her eyes are like pure gold and do quite literally glow and shine. And she also has a number of markings on her face, sort of like etched into her body, of like just beautiful, almost like heavenly runes that seem to be sort of inscribed across her cheek and her body. And her skin almost glows white, like, you know, when you look at Renaissance paintings of like nymphs or goddesses, and they almost seem to glow in their paleness. Very similarly, you see this young girl wandering down the street, sort of like looking with awe, abstract in her wonder.
Young priest, may I speak to you?
One of the priests goes, "Hold! You shall stay back from the Asamar Elizabeth Stonesworn, or I will strike you down." She goes, "No, it's okay."
I get on one knee and bow before her.
You bow before her. She goes, "Oh God, no. By Torm." And she goes, "Please, just stand up. Don't, please."
Yes, my lady.
She goes, "Oh no. What is it I could do for you, person? Sorry."
I wanted to get any information I can about Terrell.
She goes, "Oh, okay. Well, make me a persuasion check." She breaks the fourth wall by accident. Yeah,
Okay.
by accident I broke the fourth wall.
Nat 20.
She goes, "Oh, I would love to. You look so very interesting. We could share. We could be friends. You could tell me about where you're from, and I could tell you about where I'm from." And one of the paladins goes, "I don't know about this, my lady. It's just could be. There's all manner of strange, destitute creatures around." She goes, "Oh, don't be so silly, sir." And she will happily go bring her little entourage of clerics and paladins and follow you to whatever bar you take her to.
Honestly, after getting some information, I was just gonna go about and adventure through Terrell, but
okay, I'll tell you what. Why don't you? So you take her to a bar, and she starts telling you a little bit about Terrell. She tells you she's from Waterdeep, and she's like basically sightseeing. She's sort of a tourist a little bit, and wanted to get away from the stifling expectations because she's an Asamar.
What's her? Okay.
Yeah, she's an Asamar. She has celestial blood, so there's a lot of expectation for her. Just kind of considered like a sort of prophet. So she's kind of getting away from it for a week. So, but she invites you to like come hang out with her while she like explores the Rock of Bral.
I would more than happy like to explore because I know nothing about this place either.
Okay, so I'll tell you what. We'll consider this like a sort of carousing, like a modified carousing situation.
Okay.
As you kind of wander around with her.
Did I catch her?
And just kind of try and make friends with this Asamar, Elizabeth Stonesworn is her name. Go ahead and make me a... well, first off, why don't we spend 50 gold? Because we'll consider like middle class, just to like, I don't know, buy her gifts and like hang out and stay with certain... Yeah.
All right, 50 gone. And what did you want me to do?
Spend 50 gold and then make me a persuasion check.
Okay. Come on, another net 20. That 10.
10? 10. Oh man.
That's right out
we can
the
do
mark.
better than a 10. We can do better than a 10. So here's what I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
You don't quite make... So the good news is you don't offend her. You don't, like, make her not like you. But she also doesn't, like, become best friends with you by any means.
No!
Like, she kind of considers you... I know. I'll tell you what. For the original Nat 20, let's give you advantage. Go ahead and roll one more time.
Well, here's hoping. 9.
9. So you don't quite make buddies with her, but she does tell you about... So she kind of wanders around with you on the Rock of Bral. You spend that week with her, and you guys are, fairly well acquainted, but you don't become, like, best buddies or anything. And she tells you about Terrell. She tells you about Waterdeep. She's very sorry to say that she's not a deeply explored individual. Her knights are, but they're unwilling to talk to you. They're very suspicious of because they're near her ladyship. And then as the week comes to an end, she goes, "Well, it was very nice hanging out with you." And then she'll board her ship and fly back to Trill. But she tells you of Waterdeep, and she tells you it's the city of splendors. And if it can be found, it can be purchased in or if it exists, it can probably be found and purchased in Waterdeep. And it's a wonderful city and full of religions. And people are largely aware of the spell jamming community. But she was curious, and that's why she's here.
Awesome.
If you rolled a 10, you needed to roll an 11 for her to be your buddy.
Oh, are you kidding me?
And she would have like invited you to come hang out with her in Waterdeep, and we would have like, I don't know, but I know that's why I was like,
you telling me this is more dreadful for me?
Yeah, so you're cool with each other, and like maybe if you run into her again, she'll be cool with you, but you don't. Yeah, but she doesn't invite you to come hang out. Is there anything else you'd like to do? Well, that's your first week.
I'm thinking, can I just travel a bit through Terrell?
Yeah. You wanna go wander down?
Yeah.
Hey man, maybe you might end up doing that with a certain local Gith. Who knows? With similar plans. I'll tell you what. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
So maybe, perhaps, I don't know. Basan, do you have anything you want to do on the Rock of Bral for a week?
The only other thing that I was going to have her do was to go to see if there was like a magic store or someplace that sells artifacts or whatever on the Rock of Bral, and if there isn't, then she would ask enough questions to find out that Baldur's Gate's kind of where everything is happening in
the games
in Tyrell. Well, like it's the capital of like the world, so I figure like that would be like that. People would tell you, oh, if you're gonna go to a hub, that would be the hub.
Well, it would be probably like Baldur's Gate is certainly a big hub, but Waterdeep would certainly be considered like the capital of the Sword Coast anyway.
Oh, okay. Then in which case, Waterdeep. Perfect.
So it sounds like you two have similar interests. In the meantime, if you're looking for magic items, why don't we quickly cover a week of seeking magic items? So if you want to, just to give you a reminder of the process of how buying magic items work, is you put down 100 gold, and this is to start going around, talking to, getting in the door with some rich people, asking them about what they got in stock, and then they might display to you a variety of wares with their prices, and then you might be able to purchase them thereafter. So if you want to do that, you drop 100 gold. For every 100 gold you drop after that, we'll add a +1 modifier to your following persuasion check, for a total of 10. So if that's what you're interested in, we can definitely do that. And we could even say you can bring your party around if you want to be like, hey guys, look what I found. That's totally an option as well.
Let me check her. I don't know. Let's see if I feel like I've got 100 gold to spend on essentially influence.
Got it.
Can't do it.
Yeah, because... Yep, can't do it. Okay. You go wandering around. I'll say that the closest thing you find is... Let's take a look.
If that's the way it goes, she wouldn't have spent the time. She'd have just headed to Tyrell.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to... Yeah, because unless you hadn't spent the money, you wouldn't have been able to get in the door. So it's
I
fine.
don't have 100 gold just to throw at getting info.
You got other plans for that gold. I gotcha. Let's see. There's the place that you're aware of, which is Gaspar's Reclamation. You could drop a bunch of gold there for them to try and procure an item for you, but that might be fairly expensive service to provide. Yeah, okay. That's the best I could do for you, I'm afraid. So yeah, you just head down to Tyrell. Maybe you might bump into Epoxy. Who knows? But it is a big fucking city, so maybe not. We'll see. Ooh, I also got to roll to see if there's a complication in Epoxy's little turn. Hey, Epoxy, I got some news for you. You're gonna have a little complication as part of your carousing.
Wait a minute. Pause. Oh.
So while you were carousing with her ladyship Elizabeth, you accidentally insulted a guild master, and basically they don't want to talk to you unless offered a formal apology ever again. You won't be able to be provided their service.
Oh.
Let's say it's the Mage's Guild Hall. Let's say you bump into a mage, like the master of the Mage's Guild Hall, and you say like, "You, Sharpier," or something like that, and he's like, "I have never been insulted in all my life." And then, so you are no longer welcome at the Mage's Guild Hall in the Rock of Bral until you offer a formal apology to the Guildmaster, a public apology at that.
I was only pointing out the facts.
Because sometimes facts hurt, and walks away. Yeah. So anyway, that's fun. Okay, and then Apoxy, yeah, you can head over to Terrell. Why don't we say we call it a gold for every time someone wants to ship down to Terrell? So Hassan a gold, Apoxy a gold if you two want to head down there.
Right on.
And just to get your intentions, do you two just want to hang out there for the month and come back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, I will come back to you two then, because Waterdeep is its own monster that I will need to deal with. So we'll come back to you two.
Also, Ryan, I wasn't trying to make your world more difficult by saying, "Where's this hot plant?"
It's okay, man. As I've said in many a sessions here, you guys have narrative authority. It's a bit of a sandbox. You're allowed to do whatever you want. I am prepared, but I will just do that all at once. So I'm going to get all my rock abroad out of the way, and we will do that momentarily. No problem at all. So what about the rest of you? Mr. Voidlight, Mr. George, Lace, Fool's Gold, anything you guys have to do? Yes.
So, Ed's gonna spend the majority of this 30-day downtime. He's just kind of like, he can't get the Weaver out of his head. You know what I mean? Like there's just something in its headlights that's just been stuck in there. So he's just kind of been blueprinting a lot and also gathering information because like he's been on vehicles, but he's never gone under the hood of one. So he's like, how do I want to build it? Because in 30 days time, Ed's gonna eventually start customizing this bad boy. So I think a lot of it is study time, a lot of it is learning, even like the art of aircraft. Like Ed is just getting obsessed with it. He'll be drawing a lot of different. Well, I mean, gather supplies, all this, yeah, schematics, all that, like, and also like little just sketches of like just a paint job he wants to give it or something. He's very much in Weaver mode. And yeah, that's where I saw the rest of his 30 days going to. Like,
well, Mr. Tinkerer, is this purely Bluetooth stuff, or are you going to try and upgrade the Weaver?
I'm definitely gonna try and upgrade. Ed's definitely gonna try and upgrade the Weaver. He doesn't quite know if it's his to upgrade or not. Like and even if it wasn't, he would just do it because just out of nature. You know, once he uses tech, he's immediately like, I can make this better. You know,
fair enough. I mean, you got this as like probably like a second-hand personal vehicle out of like a outpost sort of turnover shop. So, absolutely. My question is to you, Mr. Artificer. What do you want to try and do? You are an artist. You are a creator. You are this is your thing. Do you have anything you'd like to try?
Ed, I would think Ed's gonna try and give it a little bit of like he really liked the like defensive maneuvers, so he's gonna try and make it more agile, if that can make sense. Like maybe customizing, like maybe he can switch what else the ballista can fire off. A lot more defensive minded design, like Ed's almost looking at the Weaver as like a big old a sheepdog for the herd is the actual Spelljammer. So
Got it.
he's trying to build it to always be bopping and weaving, getting the attention and stuff. In gamer terms, like off tanking. He's off tanking with this bad boy in his head.
Okay, so you want to increase its agility.
Yeah.
So you want it to be faster?
Faster. Ed's like if we're thinking like pie in the sky ideas that Ed's had, Ed would love to figure out a way to get this thing from point A to point B in an actual blink, similar to like a spell he's heard of, where you can
so you want it to be able to, like feel free to be specific because that helps
teleport, all that, like
you want to build in
there's a lot
teleport. So you want to build in a teleport. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to keep cutting you off. Yeah,
that's okay. So you want to build in like a teleportation thing. So so that would certainly be a magical creation. I assume you don't have access to. Do you have access to any teleportation spells you'd like to enchant it with?
Not
Misty
yet.
Step,
No. It at least not like prepared or anything like that. Not in my
prepared isn't. Don't worry about prepared. Like if it's on the office or so you can just prepare it to do it the next day, right? Yeah.
It and I guess in a simpler way right now, is there a way Ed could build it so his remote that he uses, he can like put that into the ship and essentially he can start doing his spells with the Weaver. You know what I mean?
Doing his spells with the Weaver.
Like I wish I had the brain of an artificer, but I've got I just know movies and shit. But I'm thinking like it's a little slot. He puts his little remote in there, and that makes the Weaver more magically inclined with Ed. Is that a thing that could happen?
What do you so mechanically? What does that mean? Like in D&D mechanics, what are you going for here? Like, you want it to be more magically inclined with Ed.
I want to be able to cast spells using the Weaver. If that's
okay, so you want it to basically become your spell focus. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Damn, there we go. Okay. That's a perfect way to nail it. When I'm aboard on it, I want it to be able to be my spell focus.
I understood. You want it to be your spell focus. Okay. Absolutely doable. I don't think that'll be a problem at all. So you gave me a couple of things. You got time, so it's very possible you could get many things in. So you want it to be faster.
Yeah.
Faster. So you want it to teleport,
spell focus, and then a cherry on top would be just like somewhere for a buddy to sit. You know what I mean? Like if he needs it, make it like maybe like the actual structure of it. But
so an extra seat.
Yeah.
You also said you wanted specialized ammunition.
Yeah, the ability to be able to do that. And Ed's thinking and my thinking is if he can make it spell focus, he can do a lot more with it. Like it's like say if I wanted to cast any one of my spells using it when we're in a space battle, that's what I want to be able to do as Ed in the Weaver.
You want to be able to use your spells while you're in the Weaver. So you already can do that to a degree because you use your bonus action to steer it. You have to use your action to perform certain functions. I think I kind of skimmed over it because it was the Weaver, but I think you do need to use an action to reload because typically a ballista requires an action to reload, an action to aim, and then an action to fire. But considering you're steering the goddamn thing, I'm not worried about the aiming too much. Okay. So I would say it's like you fire the ballista, then you have to use your action to reload it, and then you can fire it again. So what I've got, so where do we start? Let's figure that out. So which of these many improvements would you like to start with? I think putting an extra. So my question is, do you want an extra seat, or do you want to like put like handholds or like a place for-
like and because everybody's jumping on the wing side of it. No one wants to get inside it. So it's kind of like I just want to make that easier for people. Maybe some handles on there, you know.
Okay. Yeah, because putting an extra seat in would be like basically like taking off the wings, chopping the cockpit in half, extending it, adding extra plating, and it'll probably end up slowing it down. So that one's pretty easy. Why don't we do that one off the bat? I think the captain says, like, I'll let you work on the Weaver so long as you assure me that if you are going to damage it, you're going to replace it. I want to say yes, but I also don't want to lose a Weaver in the process. You know what I mean?
Of course, absolutely. I'll start small and see where I can get.
Maybe the captain sort of like looks at your list of improvements and goes, okay, maybe we end on teleport. Why don't we start with extra handholds? That seems fairly low risk. So let's start with that, see how well that goes, and then maybe we move on to something else.
Yeah, there's some other stuff there at the bottom, like just open-ended pie in the sky. But
you want to affixate a nuclear bomb to the bottom? I don't know about that one.
Just in case. You never know. Maybe there's a sale. But I got you, Cap.
Okay. So he certainly, So he certainly approves like the extra handhold thing. So, if you're improving it, he says like I'll cover half the expenses.
Okay.
So if this is the case, this is essentially going to consider this like sort of like installing a saddle almost to the back of it. Not quite, but similar prospect. So I'm going to say the cost is where are you? Okay, here we are. So let's call it 10 gold for bits and pieces. So you pay 5, the captain will pay 5.
Sure.
So 5 gold. And you'll spend your first 5 days working on this little improvement of your downtime. Make me I think this sounds Tinker Tools to me. Yeah. I think you could either do Smiths or Tinker Tools. It's your choice.
All right. And that's...
So let's call it... well, I'll let you decide. Which ability score do you think best suits how Ed is coming at this improvement? Is this... like, he's trying to do it intelligently? Is he just banging it out with strength? What ability score?
So I'm going to say Tinker's Tool, and it's with intelligence because he's trying to make it as reliable, not just for epoxy, but also for miscellaneous melee users and Varsh, Basan, basically the crew. He's like, okay, what would happen if like Basan needed to go this way? Oh, she'd probably like that. That like very considerate, I guess that's the word. But yeah.
Okay, go ahead and make me that check. Intelligence plus proficiency, I believe. You're proficient with Tinker's Tools.
Okay, so that is 6. Okay. Oh, that's 8 plus 6.
So 8 plus 6 is 14. I think this is not a ridiculously difficult thing to do. You're just asphyxiating. Nope, you're not asphyxiating anybody. You are I'm going to forget that word altogether. You are installing handholds and maybe some like footholds onto like the back chassis behind the actual helm. Not terribly hard to do. It's screws and bolts, man. It's not hard. I'd set that DC 10. So at the end of the 5 days, you get the right parts. You find it, you find the right bolts, you I'm skipping that word again, you install them without issue. And the captain looks at them and goes, oh, this is pretty good. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to your Weaver, we're going to make you a specific stat block, that anyone who is mounted, so we'll see that there's 2 spaces, anybody who's like mounted to the Weaver who is not in the helm will have advantage to stay mounted. If like you do like a hard turn, or if the Weaver gets hit, or there's some circumstance where someone might get shaken from the back, it will have an advantage in attempts to remain mounted.
Okay.
So, your extra seat works.
My Weaver.
advantage. Okay, excellent. So that's your first 5 days. Yeah, that's first 5 days.
Advantage to holding on.
He goes, okay, so that went great. That went great. I'm glad to see it. I would be happy to approve. Well, tell me about faster. How do you intend to make the Weaver faster? Are you upgrading the helm? Like, how do you intend to go about that?
I think, like when I'm trying to turn around on it, Captain, it took a little bit. Like, remember when it latched onto me, I couldn't get that 180 as fast as I wanted it. So I'm kind of thinking about just sort of creating a little bit of a nozzle that I can just pull on and sort of shift the 180 real fast, Do like a 90-degree turn on either way faster. That way, if I want to fire on someone, I can without having to worry about where my positioning's at. You know what I mean?
So just to so I will say, Ed, just to help you out here. I don't know if you looked at your piloting features too much, but those are stunts that you can perform.
Oh yeah, and I had those in mind. I was just trying to help those.
Got it. You wanna make it
yeah, I wanted it to be able to, like, I guess essentially it's just to like make them easier, the ranks. Especially, I believe there's one. I like how Back Off does it, where it's like you can use your half speed. I'm just trying to make those better.
Okay.
Essentially.
So I will say, per your expertise, Ed, your skills at tinkering and your knowledge of spelljamming, your knowledge of piloting, what you're trying to create to sort of make the use of stunts easier. Like you're trying to like jerry rig it basically, and if you were to be successful, it would be like a crazy upgrade. Like it would be like the only thing I could possibly see is that you grant yourself advantage to your stunt checks, right? Which is crazy, which is a huge improvement to
really
the spell jamming community abroad. So you can absolutely attempt this. I will put it as a much higher DC than the 10. So he just goes, okay, very interesting. I'd be interested to see if that could work. The teleport, we'll save that for last. I think, why don't we do turning the Weaver into either your spell focus or working on updated ammunition for the ballista? I think those would be two incredible upgrades that I would love to approve.
Let's update the ballista. That seems a lot more pressing, a lot more broad stroke too. That sounds better.
Very good. So, okay, you want to make special ammunition for the ballista. So I'll tell you what. I think I'm gonna bump over to someone else, give someone else a shot. But I'll tell you what. In the meantime, why don't you artificer for me behind the screen and think about what you want to do, what that ammunition looks like, what your improvements want to look like, how Ed intends to go about creating those improvements, especially like if he's doing it in a magical way or a mechanical way. Let me know. But yeah, give it some thought. We'll come back to you in a minute.
For sure.
Okay, so who else? Zalace, Chaplain, Varsh, do you guys have stuff you want to do?
I would like to research something.
What would you like to research?
So I want to look into. I want to avoid, like, let's say, dramatized tales of, champions representing gods or whatever. I'm looking for more, at least first-hand or second-hand accounts from people who have, let's say, been in direct contact with divinity.
Okay, very, very interesting. So, the library is open to the public, so I'm going to waive the research costs. I will say, if you do want to contribute an additional 50 gold pieces, you can add a +1 to your research check to a maximum of +6. That is entirely up to you. Don't need to do it if you don't want.
I'll add the 50.
Okay, yeah, sure. Toss 50 on there. That'll add a +1 to your check. And you can spend the week. I'll tell you what, if you want to dedicate extra weeks to this very specific topic, I'll just keep granting you +1s if you want to do that.
I'll contribute 2 weeks. I want to spend 1 week doing something else.
Fair enough. All right, so Mission Avoid Lives. So that'll be 10 days of research. Go ahead and make me... Ooh, what check do they want? Yeah, okay, we'll call it a religion or investigation check you may choose. You will have a +3 modifier to the final check.
All right. So is that on top of my normal skill? Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
Religion it is. 17.
17. That's very good. You are going to learn 2 pieces of lore. Okay. Individuals coming into contact with divinity, and specifically you want to steer away from, like, champions of gods.
I'd like to try to stick to something that's like, not necessarily even the names, but more maybe, I suppose names is kind of inevitable, but I would like to know the experiences of someone, let's say, similar to Varsh's position, effectively. Someone who is
similar
circumstances. Yeah.
I got you. I think I'm following. Okay. And I will try and keep it as vague as possible. So let's see. Let's see. Okay. So coming into contact with divinity, generally the idea of coming into contact with divinity is a very personal relationship, and 99% of the population, maybe not 99, but very close, like very large percentage of the population, never actually like consciously, verbally, like directly comes into contact with said god. Like a person might be a worshiper of the Raven Queen their whole lives, and it's about faith. And faith isn't always proven explicitly, so very much about that. Clerics, paladins, champions of gods, warlocks, ASMR, beings that have a sort of much more direct connection to divinity will have those much more conscious, direct conversation with those powers that be. So the common folk, it's just about faith. If they need something else, maybe they go to a cleric, talk about their feelings. Maybe the cleric can come back to them with something. But it is those entities that have an actual magical connection that will come into such contact. And that is your first piece of lore about the varieties of individuals that do come into contact. ASMR, there are always special circumstances, individuals, maybe sorcerers, divine soul sorcerers, warlocks, so on and so forth. So that's your first piece of lore about the types of individuals who actually manage to come into direct contact. The second piece of lore, I will say, in the unique instances where individuals... that's still kind of around magic. Okay, I'll tell you what. The other piece of lore that you get is from the perspective, the sort of theological understanding and perspective of like greater beings and divine beings in drawing their attention to a single individual. Generally speaking, a sort of allegorical perspective that is put before you is very much like if you, Varsh Voidlight, were walking down the street and you looked to the sidewalk and you saw a number of ants had formed a pentagram and were sort of crying out your name. Naturally, that's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
You want to go over and be like, all right, what the fuck's going on over here? And, depending on the persona of the entity, they might deal with that a different way. Maybe they might be like silly ants and like stomp on them and move on with their day. Others might be like, okay, that's interesting. Let's see how this goes, and that's kind of the perspective of divinity. And then if those ants are like, give us power, then you, Varsavoy, being you, in your level of power, certainly more than that, it's like, okay, give them power. Let's see where this goes. Sure, why not? Let's give them power. How can I give them power? And you can do that however you might do it. Like maybe you're step on their enemy, whatever. So very much that's how they compare it. It's very much like your relationship with the divine is based on their willingness to either be a force for good. So maybe like someone like Torm might be like, okay, they're reaching out for help. I better help them out. Whereas an entity maybe more like your entity is like, this is kind of interesting. Let's see where this goes. But then maybe someone more like Osmodius might be like, either try and manipulate or stomp on them for fun. So that is your relationship. And as sorry as it is, you are an ant. She has the big stick, and she's the person walking down the street. And that's your perspective you need to understand.
I'm an ant.
You are an ant.
Yeah, Vash sets the book aside and just internal screaming.
That isn't to say that the ants haven't on occasion acquired great power, very cool magic items, the help of armies and other gods, and managed to fuck up some people walking down the street. So it's rare, but it happens. But yes, that is sort of the perspective of your second piece of lore.
I am an ant.
In the hunt for relevance in the face of this entity that has tied itself to you, you are only reinforced in the idea that you are small and she is very big.
And the only escape is if he just loses interest. No.
But you can continue to expand on that if you're like, how to escape a divine's notice. That is certainly a
considering how the last conversation went, escape is now like question mark necessary.
I see.
Yeah. I would throw my last week of downtime out just to finish off, or does someone else want to go?
Go for it.
Want to fight? Want a pit fight?
Hell yeah! I in the pit.
I just did some really shitty. I found some really shitty news. I need to vent some frustration.
Fair enough. Hey, do we think Varsh Boylite might see any friends in the pits on week 3? Nope. Okay. Just wanted to check.
The pits?
Pit fights, back alley pit fights, baby. Well, you're in Terrell, my
second
friend.
thing.
Yeah. Well, you can find some pits down in Terrell, but up here, yeah. Okay. You, my friend, are gonna go to the pits and you're gonna fight. That's very exciting. I love that, and a great way to make money if you're good at it. So, this is the Rock of Bral. Law is very loose here. There are certainly no regulations against pit fights. Easily found. You show up. People are beating the shit out of each other. It's a great time. Okay, I need you to make me a series of DCs, a series of checks to determine how well you do. And I set these DCs randomly by simply rolling like 2d10 plus 5, because who knows who you're about to fight in this back alley, right? Cool. So I require 3 checks from you. The first of which, I'm going to need an athletics check.
God, I'm having flashbacks to the fire giant fight. Oh, that's a 9.
I'll tell you what, a 9. Okay. 9. So in this first ring around, you get out there, Varsh, and you're like, all right, you got your shirt off, and Sherlock Holmes in the first movie, and this fucking ogre, not an actual ogre, but this ogre of a man comes out, and you're like, fuck, and he pummels you. It's sad to say, but you get a little pummeled in that action. So I'll tell you what. Going forward, I'm going to tell you what the DC is before you go in, because I feel like that's more fun.
Okay.
Yeah. But unfortunately, yes, that one was not quite successful. Maybe athletics isn't your greatest skill. So the next one I'm going to need is acrobatics to see how you're able to weave and such. Your DC will be 15.
Okay, let's give this a shot.
Against your next opponent. Oh no.
That's a 5. You know what? Same number on the spinner. I have no hope.
Oh man. All right, you're trying to weave. You're not dealing a lot of damage. You're not getting out of the way of the punches, but maybe you have the constitution to withstand the punches. Let's see. So I need you to make me. This is a very special constitution roll. So what is your hit dice size?
It is. If I check my. It is 1d10.
1d10, and that would be your largest, but you're a straight ranger. So
yeah.
I need you to roll me a d10. Start with that.
Ooh. 8.
8, very good. So you will add 8 to your Constitution modifier.
Okay.
And that will be your modifier for this final check.
Gotcha.
All right, your final DC is really high. That's gonna be 19.
All right, and will I run just straight con?
Well, you roll straight con plus the 8.
Yep, got it.
Yeah, and so 19 is your modifier or your DC. Sorry.
Oh, we destroy that. That's 28.
Oh shit, Mr. Boydlight. So yeah, you're not dealing punches too much. You're not getting out of the way of the punches, but you're just taking them. You're just taking the punches. The guy goes to the side. He's like, "Stay down," and you're like, "No," and you stand back up, and they're just dealing punches to you, and then eventually they get tired, and they're like, "Ugh," and you're all beat the fuck up. But then you're like, "All right, now's my time," and then you start dealing the punches, and you basically out stamina everybody. That's how you win any of your fights. Is you just like take the punches until the other guy's worn out, and then you just beat him down enough that you win. So you, my friend, are going to be the winner of 50 gold pieces at the end of the week.
Oh, sweet. I made back what I spent on research. Sweet.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Let's do that.
Good job. There's your pit fight. Yeah, you're not the grand champion down there, but you certainly earn a nice pocket gold with no complications added. All right. Why don't we veer over to another? Let's see. Who else has stuff they want to do?
Yeah, go on then.
All right,
so there's two things. One, I want to spend some time researching psionics and Dr. Weinstein. Is that the one the name that we picked up from researching epoxy? Is that right? Where did it go?
What was that name again?
Dr. Winishi or something like that. That was the project that he was for making the Warforged.
Okay.
Maybe I wrote that down wrong.
Yeah, no problem. Those are two very different topics, but so I'll say those are different research things. So you can spend a week doing one, a week doing another. Same thing as Mr. Voidlight. You can definitely do some research. Public library, cost is waived. You can either add a week to that research topic and or 50 gold pieces to increase your modifier by +1 for each one. So every 50 gold... Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll do the 50 gold for each one.
Okay. So we'll start with the first one. What's the first thing you'd like to research?
So we'll do the science. So above the primer that I got from Bison, which we're going to look at at some point. I just want to, because obviously I would say that over this 30 days, I would have read through that and worked with, obviously can't work with Bison because she's away off. But I want to do some extra research on especially stuff like the soul blades and stuff like that.
Understood. So make me a, let's call this Psionic is a type of Arcana, so we'll call it either Investigation or Arcana. Is your choice. Since you paid out 50 gold, you will get a +1 to this check on top of your original modifier.
Oh well. Right. 5.
5.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say that you're struggling to find any books. I will reinforce the information you got from Basan because it's there. You have it in your hands. It's yours. But you go through the library. You don't find any psionic stuff in the library.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, though. If you want to spend an extra week, this is kind of in the meta, but if you want to spend an extra week, that'll give you a +1 to the check, which will bring it to a 6, which might help.
No, so I've only got another 2 weeks, haven't we? Yeah? We got another... Is that right?
Zalace, you have done... Yeah, you've only spent 5 days, so that this will be considered another 5 days. If you want to spend an extra week looking up at psionic stuff, you'll get a +1 on top of the check you just rolled, and maybe them.
Yeah, we'll do
cool.
that.
Sweet. So with that 1 week, you find one piece of lore that you require, sir. So, you want to research psionics. That is a very broad topic. Do you want to be more specific about that? You said the Psyblade specifically.
Yeah, so more the blade.
Okay, so a little bit of information about what you got going on. Now, let me tell you something. About you. Sideblades. So when you say sideblade, do you mean like soul knife, like your own?
The soul knife. Yeah.
Okay, understood. So psionics manifest in individuals who have had deep exposure to the astral plane, one way or another, and they manifest differently depending on the individual. Usually has to do with their mind and their body. So for an individual who's perhaps more dexterous, more sneakily minded, more, such as yourself, cunning, it manifests perhaps in different ways than an individual like Basan, who is a very sort of grunt, forward, tactical warrior individual. So for Basan, her psionics might manifest in a more physical, upfront, pow kind of way, whereas yours are a little more subtle. So you, being a soul knife, is one of the major humanoid manifestations of psionic ability, which allows you to channel, and you'll basically understand what you have coming your way at this point, which is the psi blades, the psi bolstered knack, the psionic whispers. You'll be aware of the psychic veil that you can achieve if you continue to manifest and focus in on this path. The homing strikes, psychic teleportation, psychic veil, the rend mind ability. It starts to describe different abilities that people who have been dubbed soul knife have been obtaining throughout their progress in the astral sea. It is far more common to come across these individuals in wild space, the astral sea. You might even be sure to run into one. They're certainly rare planet side, but not so rare in the wild space community. They're far and few between, but not impossible to find. But you do know that this means that at some point you were in a sort of solar flare kind of way, that just sort of the residual astral energy suffused with your body and enhanced your mind. You are very happy to note that you don't have a tumor in your brain, which is great. So there doesn't seem to be any trade, any notable massive trade for the granting of these abilities. You're not going to die quicker or anything like that, which is cool. But then as you look at Basan's notes, it is definitely a much more theological, philosophical understanding of psionics, that it is the manifest expression of the will of the astral sea itself, as if the astral sea did have an overarching consciousness, much like a god does. And it applies that will through individuals, where Zalace, it'll grant you powers because it believes that you have some important part to play in the fate of the astral sea, the balance between good and evil, and that's the general idea. If you were to believe the Gith, you have some important part to play in the astral sea you have some important fate that's been laid out to you, and that your power will guide you to that fate.
Okay. Okay. And then obviously.
Yeah, roll me another one for the week following for your other topic. Same modifier, +1. On top of your original score.
Right.
I think this
so
will be purely
16.
Oh, yeah. 16. There we go. 16. You are going to get 2 pieces of lore. Let me see here. Get you your lore. Alrighty then. Oops. Sorry. I made a dipshit move real quick. Okay, yes, you are looking into this Dr. Weltsey person. And Apoxy, please listen in case I mix up any details. Just in case. But the doctor was a... because you don't... Yeah, Apoxy, you don't know much about him either, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, he's a scientist. Known to be like a gnomish scientist that was very uniquely invited to Evermeet, and worked with the Elven Armada as part of was basically a R&D specialist for the Elven Armada. Just sort of like worked to help with the war against the Skrull in the last Unhuman War. That's sort of his most biggest claim to fame initially, was that he was a really big sort of artificer inventor. He was a big name in the artificer community, and he was invited into the Elven faction to help in the war against the Skrull. The second piece of lore that you find is, interestingly enough, the absence of lore. You find like quite a bit of information about his education, where he lived, public record stuff. He lived in Trill. Here and there, he bumped around different systems around the war. But about 5 years ago, he just vanishes from all record. Like, was working from the Elven Armada, was in sort of like a public R&D, developing weapons defense, weapon creation sort of work. And then his record, it seems that his employment just sort of came to an end and he vanished. Or at least from public knowledge in the Rock of Bral. It doesn't look like, but it's weird though, because it doesn't look like he was fired, nor does it look like he quit. It's just his work ended. Like, it was just like, there's no reason given, he just disappears.
The records have been expired.
Oh, something's amiss.
Yeah, he just kind of disappeared about 5 years ago.
Okay.
Okay, that's what you learn, Zalay. So Matt will cover you for... you got 2 weeks left, Zalay.
Yeah, so for them 2 weeks, I'm going to go jobbing it. So if I'll leave them till later for let someone else go.
You wanted to do more crime?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Tell you what, why don't we just rail those out, get those out of the way, and Zalay will be complete for our downtime. We'll just get those finished. All right, we like some crime.
I love his response to that. Just the way you like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, duh. Okay, so my question to you is, and to be clear, you can go for struggling merchants, which are easy targets, but you'll have to pay for your own resources. You will do it with the support of the Underbaron. So would you like to go for a prosperous merchant, a noble, like you did last time, or one of the richest figures on the Rock of Bral?
Let's go for the prosperous merchant first.
There we go. All right, sounds good. Okay, same as before. Hit me with a stealth check.
So that, oh crap, plus 5, that's 12.
12. Got it. Give me a Thieves' Tools check, same as before. You can just roll sleight of hand, I think it was.
Yep. $22.
And lastly, you may choose between investigation, perception, or deception is your choice.
12 again. Wow.
Oh man, you're trying out there. You're trying out there. Unfortunately, DC for the prosperous merchant is a 15. You have one success there, which was your thieves' tools. You weren't terribly stealthy. You get a little caught up in things, but you managed to get away. And with your thieves' tools, you're able to sort of unlock a door, get behind the door, lock it, and you get out of serious trouble. So unfortunately, you don't make any money on this particular heist. Shall we try one more time?
Let's go big or go home. Yeah, let's go for the big boy. Why not?
You want to go for the richest figure in town?
Why not?
Because you might get arrested. All right, shit. Hey, man.
Why not? Go for it.
All right. Okay. I think even the Underbaron's like, are you sure? Like, it's your life, but are you sure?
No, not rolling well. Go for the noble again. Go on.
All
look at that
right.
one.
All right. Okay. All right. Go for it. Make me a stealth check.
Right, let's roll some dice for this. That's 12. 13, sorry.
13. Understood. Go ahead and make me a thieves' tools check. Sleight of hand.
That was 14.
Okay. And lastly, I need you to roll me either investigation, perception, or deception.
Wow, last roll, he rolls well. A perception of 21.
21.
Yeah.
Once more, you
Strike out.
yeah, you're struggling to make the actual. You're like you have your like hands at the gem, and then all the alarms start going, and you're forced to run the other way. You don't get arrested, which is a great thing. But I'm sorry to say, yeah, you don't actually end up making any money on this heist. I'm sorry to say.
That's right. I'll just go and wait my turn on the ship with my head in my hands, being a failure.
Oh fuck! I'm sorry, Zoe. I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna roll to see if there's any complications with your robberies. Nope, no complications beyond the lack of wealth. And that will complete Zalace. We are, I believe, at about halftime for our session. So why don't we take a 10-minute break, and when we come back, we will complete downtime. Yeah. How long have we been on break for? Things.
On break for a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a little longer than usual.
Time zones, huh?
Time zones, yeah. Yeah, honestly, a little turn around. Okay, well, why don't we hop to it and Hassan's with us. And we'll have Ed shortly, but luckily this is sort of seeming like a largely so. There we are. Okay, cool, we got everyone back. Yeah, so let's try and bang these out. Let's try and get these all done. So, all right, my Rock of Bral friends, we have completed Zalace. Zalace, take inspiration because you're the first person to complete your downtime. Good job. All right, who's up?
Go, Chaplin.
All right.
Yeah, Chaplin.
So the next thing I want to do, I've used 1 week already. I used that making an entertainer contact at the edge. So now I will, the next thing I'm interested in finding out is, and I will openly include anybody at the edge who wants to be a part of the pretty general friendly conversation. I'm looking for like a rundown property or building or really any sort of property in disrepair. My eventual intention for right now, I'm just kind of like seeing what's available and what kind of price range we're talking about. But it can be as shabby as possible because I plan to do the renovation myself.
Gonna turn it around.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It doesn't have to be like inhabitable or operable now. It can even be just an empty lot. I'm just looking for a location for the moment.
Okay, so you want the shabbiest, busted up, unoccupied, squatter piece of shit you can find.
Yeah, I'm buying a project property eventually to fix up into my own establishment.
Okay, all right. So if you're looking for low value, you are definitely wanting to go towards the lower district, easy or low city. Excuse me. All right, you make your way down there. You want a whole building. Let's see.
Would it make it easier if I told you what I had in mind eventually?
Not really, because if you're just getting sold the place, then it's fine. So, what if we sold like a deed of property is what you're looking for here. Yes, Kat, I see you. Building cost deed. Let's see. Okay, yeah, you find. So you know what? This building looks fairly. Oh no, wait, that's part of the beholder thing going on there. I want to try and find a building on the map because that's just fun.
Yeah.
They're all connected. Is the ooh, perfect. What about this little guy right in the middle here? Or you know what? Let's do this one. Let's do this one right here because this one's a little smaller and you want something a little. So you go in. Lower city. It sort of sits on the border between the lower city and the middle city. It's got 3 floors. The sort of main floor is the second floor. The bottom floor is sort of basement. It's really beaten up. Nobody's really been inside. It isn't really serving any much purpose. But yeah, you know what? I changed my mind. Why don't you tell me what you want to do with it so we know that you're picking the space that you want?
Yeah. So what Chaplin has decided one of his long-term goals is he likes the Rock of Bral so far, and he was thinking about Girl Glitter Gold and worship and stuff like that. And I was thinking that maybe like traditionally clerics, a big cleric goal might be like to build a temple, but we're talking about glitter gold here. So it's not necessarily like, a dogmatic, traditional, solemn temple. I thought instead maybe opening what's essentially going to be a comedy club, um, like a performing arts center for like stand-up comedians and people who might sing fun, happy songs that people can dance to, just like a place of mirth.
All right, so then I am going to change it up, and I'm going to say, why don't we do this place across the street, which is, it's got the basement, which is good for like storage for ale and blah 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 blah. It's got a nice spacious main floor. You could probably knock down a wall in there. It's all good, and it's got a nice upper floor too. And there's also the thing that you can like have it demoed and built however you want, built it from scratch. So let me get some costs of buildings out for you. I guess you go to a real estate guy, and he's like, "All right, let me sort you out." Just need to pull up some information for you, my investor. Very fun. That is the PHP. We don't need that. That's the PFG. That's what we need. Oh, that's also Xanopod. There we go. Tiling, damage checker, where is it? Here we go. Okay, let's take a look. So, if you wanted to build yourself a little comedy club, we would call that like a guild hall, probably. I think that's the best way to think about it. If you wanted to smash the whole thing down and build it up in your image, that costs you 5,000 gold pieces.
Okay.
But if you use the current structure and just sort of like renovate the interior, we'll just call it like half price. We'll call it like 2,500, and half the time as well, because it's 60 days to build it from scratch. We'll call it 30 days just to get it renovated and set up and everything. There's also recurring expenses.
Sure. Yeah, I figured.
So a guild hall. Yeah.
No, I just said I figured there might be. So I guess I was, I was wondering, and I guess maybe I stopped you too soon. You were explaining this, but I was thinking that, like with any other property ownership, buyership thing, is there like a down payment or something? Like, how does this work out? Do I need to buy the whole thing up front?
I think our fantasy real estate market's going to be a lot more simplified.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be, basically what you need to do is you need to buy the deed. That's all there is to it. So you go to a property and you either like the land or like the building, whatever, you just need to buy the deed. And the deed is priced based on the value of the land, including the stuff built on the land, the equity in the land. You go to this one and Buddy's like, shit, I'll sell it to you I'll sell you the deed to the land for, I had a little thing pulled up. Property deed price is how we like to do it in D&D, apparently. In the middle of the Rock of Bral, he'll say, I'll sell it to you for 500 gold pieces.
Oh. Well. That I can do.
Okay, if that's the case, drop 500 gold pieces and add to your inventory deed to Low City Guild Hall, we'll call it for now.
Okay. And I am all the way out of money now, almost.
Yeah, but to be clear, like it's a piece of shit. There's nothing. It's not very livable right now.
That's perfect. I actually plan on spending some of my downtime working on restoring it.
Got it. So I'll tell you what. Why don't we say it takes you like a week to like have it? Because I'm explaining it to you very simply, but Chaplin probably sits down to like, you need a deed of ownership. If you want to renovate it, like what's the price, blah, blah, blah. So maybe there's like a week of consideration and purchase there. So we'll call it a week of downtime.
Okay.
So you're down a third of your time now. You've got 4 more weeks. Wait.
Oh no, that's half for me. That's 2.
Yeah, that's 2. Yeah, you got 30 days, and that was 10 days. So you got 20 days left, and that's 4 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So that's 5 days. You are the proud owner of a rundown guild hall.
Nice. I'm so happy.
Nice. There's a picture of you outside the front. A little thumb up.
Yeah. little chaplain selfie.
Yeah.
All right. Sweet. Okay. So I guess the next thing that I wanted to do was just kind of while I'm about town. Well,
Yep.
I should probably try and make some money now that I just spent all mine.
You can certainly do that. Up to you how you wish to achieve that. You can do it legally, or you can do it in a Zalace kind of way.
I would prefer to try to do it legally. I could do some minor healing or some repairs. I would probably definitely check with at the edge and see if they need any, minor repair work done around the place.
Okay. It is also worth pointing out here, folks, is that there will be living expenses at the end of all of this. So I will, at the end of all the downtime, go around each of you and be like, how well were you living? And then you can decide, what that cost will be, because you will have to pay for a day's worth of rations and bedding, blah, blah, blah. So that's worth putting out there.
Well, that's I was taking into account here, and I hate to take advantage of it too much, but Chaplain doesn't eat and sleeps standing up.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah. So I was assuming, like, in my mind, kind of, he has a little bit more time for things. He doesn't, maybe he cleans up his armor a little bit, but he doesn't have to bathe regularly. He doesn't have to stop for meals. He doesn't really get tired. So I'm assuming that, like, as far as basic human necessities go, he just has less than everyone else.
I will be taking into account, especially Apoxid Chaplain. Your living expenses will probably reflect the fact that you have you're not as needy as the rest of these people.
Right.
But anyway, you want to work? No problem. So no problem finding work on the Rock of Bral. There's plenty of work here. If you want to spend the rest of your time working, you certainly can. 4 weeks worth.
Yeah. The overriding idea, I guess, would be to try and figure out, in the 2 weeks that he's been busy already, maybe kind of keep an ear open for ways that he can be most helpful. However, that seems to come to pass. Somebody somewhere in this city's got to be having some sort of problem.
I gotcha. So I will leave it to you. There are two, based on what you explained, there are 2 things I think you could do. Because you spoke about healing and whatever. So, I mean, it will be in your own fun way, to be clear. But you can either just go do work, which is tools and repair and serving drinks, whatever. Or you can provide religious service. And of course, that will be a chaplain version of religious service, to be clear.
Yeah.
That's a Gnarl Glitter Gold version of religious service. You're not standing on the side of the street ringing a bell. You're probably ruining some rather stingy people's days.
This also reminds me that I did read recently that adherents to Gnarl Glitter Gold's religion, they have a holy day called the Communion of Laughter or something like that on the 13th of every month. So I want to start observing that. And basically it's just filled with like a heightened version of like all of the pranks and jokes and songs and singing and etc.
Got you. So, and that's great. The issue is that in the astral plane wild space, because there's so many different calendars and so many different worlds, that wild spacers don't really recognize regular calendar. They just kind of track days by like standard days and standard months, and that's pretty much it. They don't even really track the year unless they land on a planet. But you, being in full chaplain fashion, can probably just pick a day of the week and then count every 5 days or something, right? So I'll leave it in your hands. You've got 4 weeks. You can do like a 2 and 2 or a full whatever. So 1, you get work, which is you get paid for the work, right? Obviously. The other one is religious service, which you don't get paid for, but you do earn yourself religious favors, which can be used one of 2 ways. You can get a favor with your clergy. So other followers of Gnarled Glitter Gold will be helpful to you, maybe help you in social ways, political ways, blah, 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 blah. Or you can use it to beseech your god in vital moments, provide an omen, a prophecy, maybe a little help in combat, who knows. So those are your two options. You want money or you want your god to give you a favor?
I'm definitely going to do some religious service.
Okay.
Also, I was maybe this isn't the case, but I was assuming chaplain would need to be involved, or maybe be wanted to be involved in the repairs and upgrades to the new Dawn. So if some of his time is to be spent there doing repairs, just for his regular wage, that's fine as well.
Okay. I think right now, Captain Lunarbow, he's like, he like talks to you guys about like small things here and there, like Ed working on the Weaver and so on. But generally, he's like, well, I want my downtime too, and so does the other officers. So they don't want to like have to supervise the ship too much. And they are doing some work there, but they're sort of contracting outwardly. So you got 4 weeks. How many of that do you want to be religious service? How many of that do you want that to be traditional?
All right, yeah, let's split it up half and half then.
All right, why don't we start with our religious services? So, I need you to make me 2 checks, 1 for each week. It can either be a religion check or a persuasion check. It's your choice. Or, because you are Chaplain Fool's Gold, if you think that there's a skill that better suits Chaplain's special style of religious service, feel free to propose that.
Yeah, I'm actually better with religion, but I'm gonna, just for flavor, I'm gonna go with performance instead, I think.
Okay, fantastic. Make me a performance check for the first week.
It's a 10.
That's a 10, okay. Make me another one for your second week.
Oh no, 3.
A 3. You play some pranks and stuff, and you make some jokes here and there, but for whatever reason, it really doesn't it doesn't draw the attention of the clergy. You don't feel any special connection with Gnarled Glitter Gold. I guess you're just not bringing it. You're not bringing it like you usually do those 2 weeks. So would you like to continue your work? Go to work for the last 2?
Yeah, I'll try some work for the last 2, and I'll try and think up some jokes while I'm working, I guess.
All right, I'm just gonna go check to see if there's any complications. Nope. Okay, so this one's fairly easy. You can find work wherever. We're not too worried about that. You can make an athletics, acrobatics, intelligence check using a set of tools you're proficient with, a performance check, or a charisma check using a musical instrument. Basically, just propose to me how you want to work, and we'll find a skill that matches that.
Okay. In this case, I guess since we already did performance, he's probably going to look for something that's a little bit more hands-on and related to like actual physical repair work.
Okay.
Something like that, probably.
So why don't we call that? Why don't we call that a tools check? Why don't we call that your traditional carpenter stuff?
Yep.
So why don't we call it? Yeah. So why don't we call it strength plus proficiency, because you're just kind of laboring.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Nat 20 for a 23.
Big, good stuff. Roll me one more.
Oh, my. And a 17 for a dirty 20.
A dirty 20. Okay. So those are 2 very good checks. So let's see. Hang on a second. I'm going to tell you. We'll deal with the expenses at the end, because that's how the wages work, but we're going to do it differently so that you have the money in your pocket. On the second week, where you did the 20, you're going to earn enough to support a comfortable lifestyle for a week, which is 5 days. So you're going to make 10 gold pieces.
Okay.
And then on the 21 week, you are going to make the same amount, 10 gold, plus an additional 25. So 35 right. Total gold. For the 2 weeks, that's a total of 45 gold pieces for your work those 2 weeks.
Okay.
So while you work, There's no complications. And that is Chaplain Foolsgold's downtime. Well done, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Very good, very good. Okay, so for the rest of our downtime on the rock, Varsh and Ed, you're my last two, and then we'll go around the Waterdeep for Basan and Apoxy shortly after. So, what would you two like to do with the rest of your downtime?
I'll continue working on the Weaver. For adaptive ammo, I was thinking just for an easy one, the loading property, make it a lot easier. A little bit.
Okay. So why don't we? So would you like to do that? And you're an artificer. You can describe as much or as little as you want about how you want the mechanism to work.
I essentially want to make it so reloading. And this works in hand with what I want to do with the ammo, which is what I want to make the ballista adaptive ammo, so I can change its damage type to like fire or cold or etc. More like elementals. Like I think like psychic. I don't know, maybe something that'll make sense for that. But in my thinking is that would be all of that works hand in hand because it's to just make the act of loading easier, and then what's loaded makes it to make it adaptive. So
Got it.
One of those two.
So I'll tell you what. Make me an Arcana check to see if you, Ed Jord, can figure out an enchantment to suit your needs.
Okay. That's 16 plus 6, 22.
That's very good. So as far as adaptive ammo goes, like, I don't think you're not aware of an enchantment, like how to do that, like where you could just fire a shot and it will instantly pick the most beneficial ammunition. That's like beyond legendary level enchantment. That's pretty tough. But that isn't to say that you can't make indeed adaptive ammo. It just means that you would probably need to select the type of ammo you would want to do. Still a pretty decent enchantment, but totally doable.
That's what I was thinking, like something you would choose beforehand.
Got you. So, essentially what you could do is you could enchant the actual ballista mounted to the Weaver to have the capacity to enchant whatever bolts are loaded into it and enchant them into an elemental damage of your choosing. I would say that would be worthy of like a very rare magic item. So that will take a while to produce, and it would be very expensive to produce.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to save that roll there, can I put that in the I know how to do this, we have to save up to list and maybe
absolutely
go for okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely mark down on your sheet somewhere like you think you have a cool sort of adaptive elemental enchantment for a ballista. Very rare. Definitely mark down very rare level of enchantment.
Enchantment. Okay, cool. So in the case of now, the rest of my downtime, can I spend it on making loading a little faster?
I think loading is perfectly good. Do you want to make that in a magical way or in a tinkerer kind of way?
I think tinkerer way. Like I'm right here. I just want to make it so it loads faster, kind of like going from manual to like automatic if possible.
And how would you achieve that? Do you want to give the ballista like a clip, like a cartridge with ballistas?
Yeah. I want to essentially extend the chamber and add a clip to it, so it kind of goes like.
Very cool, very cool. So it still would be a loading property, but it wouldn't be like every shot. It would be after a series. Totally. Why don't you make me an intelligence-based tinker check to see if Ed can sort of think this out.
All right. Ooh, that's 18 plus 6.
I think that'll do the job. Ed, you put together these schematics, totally like Tony Stark putting together the Mark I, of a Yeah, like a loading cartridge. And to be clear, like firearms are much more like they exist around here. They're much more in your face in wild space. Mind you, those are mostly like muskets, blunderbuss, and pistols. So the idea of like cartridge loading firearms hasn't really been produced yet. But Ed Jord figures out cartridge loading weaponry, and you bring it to Lunarbow, and he like he doesn't understand it first. He's like, okay, this what is this? And you begin to explain it to him, and you spend like maybe an hour talking to him about the mechanics of it. And he's not an artificer or a tinkerer, but he's a pretty intelligent guy, and he's able to sort of follow you until he's like, fuck yeah, yeah, go ahead, make that. And he's like, yeah, what do you need? And he is happy to sort of back that invention. So go ahead and make me. We'll call it an advantage because you've already rolled the schematics. So this is just to see if you can put it into practice, if you can actually like make it. So make me another intelligence-based Tinker's Tools check to see if you can create an initial prototype cartridge ballista.
There we go. It is a 6 + 6, 12.
A 12 total?
12 total, yeah.
Okay, you work through the first week, try to produce it. You definitely have like a show where all the officers come out to see your cartridge, and it doesn't work. The springs fall out. And you're like, fuck. So you've got the schematic, and you're like, I just missed something. I know it. It's just yeah. And so we'll call that a week spent.
Wait,
but
you said an advantage, right?
Yeah.
Oh shit, because that was my first roll.
Okay, go for it. Roll again.
Sorry, I've been like fighting off of migraines since our break.
No,
okay.
no worries.
10 + 6, 16. A little bit better.
A 16? So I'm for a 16 for such a like world changing like totally changes the face of warfare. I'm gonna say that doesn't quite succeed, but I will say that for the next check you make, it will lower the DC through trial and error.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you get closer. You're like, okay, like I've almost got it. And you're like, I just need to spring load it, and like you're pretty close. So that was your first week of trying to produce this loading property. Make me another roll for the second week if you wish to continue to try and create this invention.
Yeah, for sure.
Cartridge loading ballista.
Same with advantage?
With advantage, yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Zalace and Basan are both drooling somewhere. They don't know why.
8 + 6.
8 + 6 for a total of 14.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. The DC was 20. I've lowered to 15. So you're like, you just like, and this time the problem was like Ed doesn't know it, but he like literally missed putting a bolt in somewhere. Like he just like there's like a spare bolt in the shop, and you're like, fuck. So unfortunately, that week is spent trying to produce it. Doesn't quite work out either. You may spend another week if you wish.
I'll spend my last week. I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. 19 + 6 this time.
Of trying to make this invention created. Ed, why don't you explain to us, as the ballista is rolled out, what does the ballista look like? Like, what does this invention look like?
So, I would say originally they had like a little rinky, like a little bit more of like a Rust Bowl traditional ballista. I think this one has a more sleeker barrel that kind of has it looks more like what's a 3-dimensional triangle called again when it's like extended? Pyramid. Yeah, there we go. And it's got like more of like a pyramid-like barrel. It's all very fine. A lot of like Ed's work, his touch to it is it seems rustic, but then it's got a very smooth engraved, almost like feeling like in an urban city. He like think of like the financial part of every city, that like sleeker sort of stone feel. That's kind of like how Ed's work looks with and he always adds his own little personal touch, which is like sort of like these graffiti like just decals on it. But even on a barrel like this, So it's got it's got the one long pyramid like barrel with then on each side again making another triangle sort of like on the bottom of the weaver itself where it would go. It has two smaller connecting chambers. So basically the ammo is going to be going in a triangle like motion. As it goes in, it goes out. As it goes in, it goes out. Sort of. And,
Okay, I think I see you. Okay, you bring this out. I will say that this cartridge, this sort of pyramid-shaped cartridge, I'll say holds 4 bolts.
Nice.
So, but so like it will depend on how you're utilizing the ballista. Like if you're in the Weaver, like you can have that loaded on, have 4, and if you need more, then you gotta like dump the cartridge, and you're gonna just need to load them singularly thereafter because it's such a small vehicle. But in like, on like in a standard ballista, like on the actual Spelljammer, like a new cartridge can indeed be loaded by like a loading crew. But it's difficult when it's just you. But yeah, you bring it out, and and the self loader for the crossbows where you just like install the thing and you go clack, and it just pulls the rope back. So you have that in there. So you're sitting in the cockpit, you pull that back, it immediately loads the string, which makes the ammo just sort of fall into place and click in, and then you fire it off, and then and the thing goes forward, and you're able to take out 4 shots from your pyramid cartridge, and Lunar Bow and the Spelljammer and all the officers are just like stunned. They're like, they can't believe what they're seeing. Like this is the future of warfare you have just created. You've just made like it needs to be miniaturized, but you might be the guy who figured out cartridge firearms and siege weaponry.
I feel like the Commandant is really invested in this moment.
The Commandant's just got his whole like hippo mouth, just like can't believe what he's seeing. He's like, "And you're not even a GIF? Are you sure?" And he's like, he's everyone's stunned and absolutely happy. I'm gonna say, Lunar Bow said he'd go half and half with you. So why don't we call the supplies to have made these things? Because you did have to like keep working, which costed more. So why don't we call it like, I probably should have asked beforehand. I'll be a little more merciful because I didn't put the cost up front. Why don't we say like 25 gold a week? So we'll call it 75 gold to have done all of this. And then Lunar Bow will, because you have 2 weeks left, you've spent 4 weeks. I'll say one of those weeks has been like blueprinting and planning out different enchantments and stuff. So you got 1 week left. So I'll say Lunar Bow basically will pay you to make 4 more cartridges. To basically make. So he'll just fund you to make a bunch more for his ship.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll do that for sure.
Yeah, and you do that with your last week. No check required at that point because you've built it, you've made it, and so currently I will update the Weaver stat block that your Weaver has like 4 shots without the loading property, and then you'll need to use an action to reload thereafter. And then for the ballistas on the actual New Dawn, there'll still need to be an action to load when the time comes, but there'll be 4 shots in between. In between that, which means you guys are going to move a lot quicker. Very cool. Ed, take inspiration for changing the face of warfare forever.
I just put a couple things together. It's not really. Might have just made.
That's going to be your quote when people reference you as like the Tony Stark of our era, like the weapons master. Like, I just got to do some shit together.
Just gotta do a couple things together.
Incredible.
Well, I'd like for a hand crossbow, just out of curiosity.
We can. He'll need to miniaturize it. Might be a little trickier, but you've got the big one done, so you just got to miniaturize it. You just got to make the iPhone smaller now. All right, can be done probably. All right, last but not least, Mr. Voidlight. Let's see, how many weeks have you?
I've used all mine.
Oh, you've used all yours.
Yes, I believe.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
I think it's
Okay.
the away team now.
Yeah, we're gonna do the away team now. Okay, fantastic. So I'll just find us a Waterdeep map, because for some reason every campaign always ends up in Waterdeep, I find these days.
Oh, I hope it's familiar. Oh wait, no, I've never been to Waterdeep.
You've never been anywhere, Epoxy. At least not in your brain.
I
but
meant
we'll
me
find
as a
out.
player.
Oh, you as a player. Not in my games, I don't think. No.
One of them is from Waterdeep, but me, the player, I don't know anything.
We'll get there eventually.
Get there. Yeah.
First.
It's gotta happen. Oh, Basan, nice.
Oh my god, I love it.
Yeah, fair enough. As a gift, fair enough. Can't argue with that. Come on, work with me. The computer does not want to work. Hang on a second. Nope, not you. Okay,
I can be awkward but less scary if I just cover my face and my nose.
That's fair. Oh, God. Why is there no nose? No problem.
Epoxy as taking example of Basan and just hunching over to look less intimidating. A lot less taller.
Basan's 6 feet tall also. So these are
6.
Whoo,
yeah.
Like we are tall.
Wait, how tall is Basan?
Basan is 6 feet tall.
Oh, Epoxy's 6 foot 6 inches.
Yeah, so Basan's kind of built like like Michael Phelps, so she's broad-shouldered.
Whoa.
Arms are maybe a little longer than they ought to be, kind of skinnier maybe than she should be, but still real muscular.
Terrifyingly
lean muscle,
beautiful.
hella lean muscle.
And then she doesn't have a nose. Like she doesn't have nose cartilage, which is scary. And her teeth are serrated, which is also scary.
Yep. That'd be an alien.
So yeah, she wraps a scarf around her face in a drapey sort of way so that it makes it less obvious that she does not have a nose and she does have serrated teeth.
Oh, I should take a level in a druid to look like a dog. I'm kidding.
Okay, welcome. You guys, both in your own time, you pay a gold, you hop aboard, probably a space galleon because they try and keep it inconspicuous when they head to...
Basan, did Basan want to like come along with Epoxy and like do our own findings together?
Basan is going to Waterdeep, yes.
Yay, friends!
Awesome.
Okay.
And while
who knows why, Basan? We'll say that you're they tell you to come back in 5 days for you know what happens? This is perfect. You know what happens? You know how you and Apoxy get met up? Because Apoxy's there about a week after you. Basan, they lose your luggage, of course. And they're like, come back in a week and we'll have your luggage for you. And as you come back and get your bag, you see Apoxy step off the ship and you guys are like, we're on the same crew. And then you guys can hang out.
Hello, Conrad.
Hello.
You have business here as well, huh?
I'm looking for a smith that can fix some things. If I've already been here for a week, could I have spent that week trying like either... I feel like I went to the Mages Guild in the Rock of Bral, and that's where I was able to find somebody who kind of knew what the U was.
Oh, you probably would have seen me get kicked out of the Mage Guild then.
No. I would have been to the Mages Guild in Waterdeep.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah. No, everyone's gonna get their due time to do things. So yeah, we'll stick with you, Basan, for the week that you were just sort of solo. So for the first time, you step off into the City of Splendor, which is the biggest city you have ever seen in your entire life. which is pretty cool. You're sorry. What exactly do you want to do?
Well, aside from finding comfortable lodge or modest or comfortable lodgings, just to make someplace where I don't feel like I'm going to get ganked.
No, no one wants to be ganked.
I would find the Mages Hall because that is where on the Rock of Bral I was able to find information about that faction.
Got it. So you're seeking a mage's guild to learn more about the gift. You like approach someone, you're like, "Where's the mage's guild hall?" And they're like, well, "Which one?"
Oh, do they have specialties?
I mean, and this is whoever you're talking. We'll say a guardsman who knows the city pretty well. He goes, I suppose there's many different sort of institutions of magical learning. There's a great variety, in fact. Um, if you could be specific about what you're looking for, maybe I could point you in the right direction.
Would anybody understand Gith Zerai culture?
He goes, well, we'll see if this guardsman knows what a Gith is. He goes, what's a Gith? Is that a monster of some kind?
No, no, no. They're not monsters. We're not.
All right.
Just is there like a library?
Oh yeah, library. You want books? I can point you where it's books. That's not a problem. There's Blackwell's Fine Books and Good Tomes. There's the Serpent Hill Books and Folios. There's the Bookworm's Treasury. Meldev's Chapbooks and Folios. There's plenty of bookshops here. You just gotta, yeah. And basically there'll be a variety of book places you can go, and I think that'll.
But not suffice. A library. Only bookstores.
I don't know if Waterdeep actually has a library. Libraries in Waterdeep. Here we go. Thank you, Reddit. Okay. Yes. He goes, oh, you want a library? I mean, I don't know too many libraries, but I definitely know about the Font of Knowledge. You can go to the Font of Knowledge. They call it the Great Library in the city. It's more of a temple, really, for the god Ogma, but plenty of people go there, scribes and wizards and people, for to learn stuff. You can go there.
Thank you. And that is where I will go.
All right, you find your way to indeed a massive temple, very cathedral-esque, but it's like combine a cathedral with a grand library, and that is what this place is. And it's dedicated to Ogma, the god of knowledge, the chief deity of knowledge on the Sword Coast. And it is staffed with many wizened and intelligent individuals. Oh my god. Let's do your downtime, and we're going to get to something that's going to be hilarious for you specifically, Hassan. Go ahead. So we'll call. Do you want to do like research? Do like a little research here?
Yes,
okay.
Please.
Mark off the 50 gold for like this is a kind of library, but you want to pay for the clergy. Blah blah blah. So 50 gold to access their stores. Make me, and you're looking for more Gith lore specifically.
Specifically, I'm going to send you something.
Sure. 25 words or less.
I can do that.
I'll just a joke. I see.
So what she would do is take the book of stories that she had taken to the Rock of to the Mages Hall, the Mages Guild, and they said that with that and the armor, that was where she had gotten all the information about that there was a sect of unification, all of that information. So she's looking for what's the name of that sect, and do they only exist on Zeos? Because
Make me we'll call it a history or investigation. Your choice.
I get settled here in my chair.
No problem. And as a reminder, you can always contribute an additional 50 gold to add a +1 to your check for a total of +6.
I will be adding that 50 gold, thank you.
Okay, get an additional +1 on top of your modifier.
And this is what I was going to spend the gold for, which is why I didn't spend it earlier. I think my modifier is a +1. Where you said history?
Yeah,
Or
history
investigation.
or
It doesn't matter, it's the
investigation.
same.
Cool.
18.
18. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I believe that gives you 2 pieces of information. 18. Yeah. 2 pieces of lore as you study. Okay. So much for a secret organization. The Sun has figured them out. You're looking for... So the first piece of information, once more, is a sort of absence of information. You do... You look all week, and it's not until the last day that you actually find any information on the Chassel Cool. Which is like, thank God, I thought this was going to be a waste. Thank Mother Gift, excuse me, for you. You do find this book, it is very, very vague. There isn't a ton of details, but there's nothing there to... Basically what it describes is that it is a deeply, deeply secretive organization because naturally they're hunted by both other Gith factions. So the only like specific outpost, headquarters, whatever they actually possess is, in God, there's so many terms. The
Zeos.
Zed place. Zeos, thank you. So there's nothing to point to that anybody's ever found any sort of outpost on Toril. And you suspect, Basan, that, like, this being a secretive organization per the dangers that they face, if you could find that information in a library, they're probably not doing secret organization very well. So that's your first piece of information, is that they're very secretive, and nobody has heard of them on Toril other than a couple of scribes that have put the information in here. Like, the clergy probably got this book, and they're like, sure, we'll put it there. Why not, man? Like, I don't know. Maybe you're right. You know what I mean? And that's kind of why that book is there. The other piece of information that you learn is that the only centralized leadership that exists exists on Zeos, and the current leader of Zeos is a high-ranking member of the Githyanki known as Warlord Zetek. Oh, fuck this name. Zetkriber. I will post the spelling of that because holy shit.
Because the Githyanki don't use vowels.
Because the Githyanki don't use vowels. There's reference to this warlord who was originally a Githyanki and has since become the leader, the current leader of the Chassel Cool.
All right.
It speaks at length about this individual. That's sort of, it's like, the only centralized leadership is there. It's run by this warlord, Zetkriber. I'm going to actually go look at his page and see if they pronounce it for me, because I would be so happy if they did. No, they don't. They don't like us that much. He was originally a warlord on Tunarath, the you know about Tunarath, and uh, he came to lead these guys, and he is sympathetic to the organization's cause, but it seems to be that his real intention is to forge a nation unifying all of you. That's sort of his. He's sort of a Magneto figure, is the best way to think of it. He is. It's difficult because it's like I want to put Xavier and Magneto together, where he is like a warlord who wants to unify all gifts, which is very Magneto, but he doesn't want to do it at the expense of individuals, which is also very Magneto. So there is a sort of let's all come together and share this world, which is very Xavier. So very much like a war philosopher, like if that exists, like a war philosopher of sorts. But he is a capable Githyanki warlord who runs this secret faction.
All right. Well, I imagine that's a week, and I have to go get my luggage. Fools.
Yes, you go get your luggage, and Apoxy shows up. Still muted.
I'm so sorry. I always forget. Hope your travels were well.
They were. What brings you to Terrell?
Information about my own existence.
I'm here for the same reason. The library is maybe not the best place to look.
Okay. I was thinking about going to guilds and see if the word of mouth can help in any way. Would you like to join me?
Yes. Smiths? Maybe?
Artificers.
Yes.
They might have some. Yeah.
Before we move on to that, I just need to put that last detail in for you, Basan, that I almost forgot about. While you're in the Font of Knowledge, I'll just roll to see if it happens. I hope it happens. Oh my god, I hope it
happens. Oh no.
Yes, thank. The last day is very eventful for you. You get this information, and while you're reading, you just kind of look up, and you see in full clergy Ogma robes, you see a motherfucking mind flayer. Totally accepted amongst the clergy. Definitely kept to the side so as not to scare, the regular folk, probably. You just kind of catch it, maybe a door opens and you kind of see him in there, but in full clergy robe, symbol of Ogma, very formally a member of the clergy. You see a mind flare cleric of Ogma sort of speaking with other clerics through the crack in the door. These fuckers are everywhere. Yes, Apoxy.
This is before I arrived, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. It's all you.
I'm just gonna look down and not. Clearly, it's fine. It's fine.
That is fine. That is real lore. I'm not just being a shit and putting mind flayers everywhere. That is true lore. There is a mind flayer who shows up there every now and then. But anyway, passing back forward to Epoxy, yes, you guys sort of take to the streets of Waterdeep together.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look for any guild halls that would consider mages or artificers. Maybe thieves or rogues.
Wow, that's a broad spectrum. You're looking for thieves, rogues, artificers, or wizards.
First will be artificer, like an artificer guild, if there is any.
Okay. And if we end up with artificers or any kind of smith, Bisan will keep her eyes open for get another Githzerai.
Understood.
Not that I'm expecting anything, but you know.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so we're looking for Gitsurai and Artificers. Let's see. Okay. Tell you what, Apoxy, make me a insight or investigation check to see if you can track anything like that.
Woof. And well, it won't matter. Oh, it went behind my 13.
13. 13. You hear of a place called the Temple of Gone, also known as the House of Inspiring Hands, that invites plenty of peoples to bring forth strange inventions. And so Gone is basically like a craftsman god, and many gnomes and artificers and builders worship Gone. And you can definitely find your way there.
Gond?
Gond, Gone, the Faerun god of craftsmanship.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that place out first.
Okay. Unfortunately, Githyak, he did not seem to be a primary subject in relationship to Gone, unfortunately.
Is there any smiths in there that I see?
You will have no problems finding smiths.
Okay.
We'll do that later. So inspiring hands. Inspired hands. You go into the temple, and it's basically a 3-story tall. It was probably once an inn of some kind, but no longer. It is now just filled with gadgets and gizmos and tubes. You see that there's like dummy waiters and like high plumbing systems, and like the place is just filled with even somewhat convoluted technological advancements, trinkets, all kinds of stuff like that. And yeah, there's artificers abound.
Attention, all smiths.
They all look up.
I have a question for you all.
They all just sort of nod in unison, like just sort of sheepishly.
Can you find my origin?
Buddy, roll me a persuasion check at advantage. As the only warforged they have ever seen in their lives walks in the door and says, "Take me apart and pull me back together."
Ooh! Okay, it's not nat 20, but it is a 19.
Okay, for total?
That's it.
19? Like, if there's 10 people in here, 9 of them stand up, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, and they all walk up to you, Apoxy, and luckily enough, Basan, as you're trying to be conspicuous, Apoxy definitely takes the attention away from you. And like, you can chill here, and they will be very happy to fully and thoroughly scan over your chassis and inner workings and just sort of figure you out.
I mostly hope to, for the moment, distract most of them, as Basan can go about her own questions to any smiths she seems interested in.
Understood.
If none of them are Githzerai, then
Oh no, okay.
Sarai, I'm sorry, they're very scarce.
What I'm looking for is so very specific. It's one of those. It's unusual, but you're gonna ask the question because who knows what might happen.
Yeah, I just want to know if anybody has any clue of sigil markings or whatever that's left on my person that anyone could or might have recognized.
I'm gonna make a series of checks. So if you want to stay here for a week, like people will just come in and out like a revolving door and try and figure you out. Okay, cool.
I'm showing them my claws, my giant rat tail hair that can turn to spines. Um, oh, and another feature I haven't shown yet, which like massive tentacles grow out of my. But I want to flavor it as just the rat tail just spreading apart, extending my person.
Oh my god, that's great. In in Omega Red fashion, except not from the hands, just from like the back of your head. You were like, ah, that's the coolest shit I've ever seen. And a series of gnomes and artificers and so on will happily look you over. All you really got to do is sit there. Like this is technically like a downtime activity, but it's not your downtime activity. It's these people's. So I'm gonna quick roll. See if anybody knows anything. Anybody?
I'm hoping for a nat 20.
One guy goes, no, I don't. I lost it. And
No!
One more. I'm very sorry, Foxy. Nobody. Oh. Well, actually, one guy rolled a 19. So nobody really. Everybody's super interested in what you have to say and what you are. They describe to you like your functions and such. They tell you that you definitely have components that can be retrofitted and improved or changed, but they don't know like how that all works. It's a very specialized sort of system there. Sort of like USBs. You know what I mean? It's like it's its own system of slots and measurements and such.
Yeah.
But one person actually sort of like going on the edge of your plating. He's like, it's this little gnome, like this like old fucking gnome guy with like blue, like gray blue hair, big glasses, bottle like Coke bottle glasses. He goes, yeah, I don't do any speculations. I mean, there's nothing here that's explicitly wrote in Elvish, but I think there is something about the style of your plating and the internals. There's a sort of a design preference here in your internal workings and your wiring that might suggest it has something to do with materials. You see, this is a piece that is this is a wiring made from non-conductive wood, and it's only found in one place in Faerun. It's have you ever heard of Evermeet?
Furiously writing it down. Ever meet?
Yes, it is the created homeland of the elven people here in Toril. They say only elves are magically capable of, or only able to visit. They say that the island is warded against all other creatures, humanoids anyway.
I see.
Oh.
How far is that from here?
It's fairly far. It is a bit of a sea voyage to get there.
All right. That'll have to come another time.
Yeah. So this is the Sword Coast. There's like a peninsula in the middle called the Moonshay Isles, and beyond that, there's a landmass called Everwood. So you'd have to cross the ocean. You have to cross the sea.
Little old man, may I have the honor of your name?
My name is Blippy Long Zippy. Yes, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
My
actually,
Blippy is a nickname. You don't want to know my real name.
I have an offer for you.
An offer?
As per my being, I would be honored if you could give me a job maybe every now and then when I pass by.
A job?
Yeah.
I could certainly provide. I could certainly use a little helping hand from someone as specialized as you, certainly.
Okay. Next time, I'll be here.
Shakes your hand. Okay, fantastic. All right, we got a couple. We're running out of time, so let's power along with these last couple weeks. So I believe you, Apox, you will have 4 more weeks to play with. Hassan, you have 5. What would you like to do?
See, that's the thing. Other than tracking this thing down, Bisan doesn't have anything to do.
You can just enjoy the sights, man. If you want to do a little carousing, if you just want to like call it non-specific relaxation time, totally accept. Like everyone here is working their butts off, but like just chilling out is a totally valid downtime option.
She'll go back to the library and see if she can track down the mind flayer.
Ooh.
Okay. I'll tell you what. Make me a persuasion check to see if you are able to convince the clergy to give you an audience.
That is a 17.
17. How interesting. All right. Bear with me. I've got to get this settled up here. Okay. I think we're just about there. You talk to the clergy members. They end up bringing you to talk to an individual known as Savant Sandra the Wise, who is the leader, who is the high priest of the Font of Knowledge. You talk to him. You tell him that do you relay to him that you are Gith and you come in peace.
I will take my hood down and be respectful, of course.
Okay. Per your persuasion, after a couple of days, he'll show up and he says, the individual's name is Sangalor, and he only shows up every so often, once every week or so. So we'll have to let him come at his own time. But when he arrives, I will introduce you. So long as, of course, you do not mean harm. He is a worthy member of our clergy. With that, eventually, you will see this mind flare does show up. Has doesn't look as like beady yellow, like mean, I'm gonna eat your brain eyes, but sort of glossed over whitish yellow eyes. The skin is blue. The ends of his tentacles are very thin and purple. There's some veins up the side of his bulbous sort of brain head, but does wear very decorated Ogma gear. And you meet him in a private room in the side of the temple. And there's a couple paladins that are standing outside. You suspect for his protection. You are a Gith, and he has a mind flare. But they lead you to your privacy.
She would have disarmed before walking in. She would have handed the paladin her 2 weapons.
They would have happily accepted that, and I think that certainly puts things in the right direction. You enter within, and you stand face to face with a mind flare, one that, for the first time perhaps in your life, you don't intend to kill. Well, other than the ones at the outpost, but, you know. But he looks at you, and you feel his telepathy connect to your mind. And he says, "Good afternoon, Gith. I hope that my communication with you is not offensive. I am not well spoken in other languages than my native tongue."
Same way, I'll switch to deep speech and say, do you prefer this? It's easier than mouth sounds.
And he will speak in deep speech through his tentacles instead of the telepathy, sort of following your lead. And you guys will speak in the most alien fucking language you can imagine. And he says, "May Ogma has guided you here to this temple, and you seem interested to see me, but to my great surprise, you are not interested in my head. That is what I have been told."
She'll actually smile at that. And she'll recount her first encounter 6 years ago, where the Illithid slaughtered a whole bunch of everything, and it was only she and Saeed who lived. But the recognizing that Saeed wasn't everything that she'd been told. And clearly he wasn't either.
And you're relating this to the, you weren't told about the Shelsal Cool. Is what I assume you're relating it to? You weren't told everything?
Well, in other words, that in other words, that Saeed wasn't the Githyanki.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's
You
RP this.
Oh, yeah, all right.
That'll probably be a better way
Yeah, this will be easier.
of doing this. So you explain the encounter, and then you say that we weren't told everything. Yes.
So not all. Clearly, Githyanki are capable of humanity. And if you're here, so are the Illithid.
That is fair. Not all Illithid desire conquest. I feed my hunger, for example, with commerce and discovery. One profits better and learns more when one is trustworthy, so that is a virtue of which I strive to be.
Who is Ogma?
Ogma is the chief deity of knowledge here on Faith. There are many gods of knowledge. There's gods of writing, there are gods of learning, but Ogma is the god of knowledge, and does not bend to good or evil, but simply bends to the path of understanding and knowledge. And it is the path that I have followed to help me stay clear of the path of madness as so many follow down.
So divinity can protect from madness.
There is a greater debate there. I think certainly. In my case, I think my faith in Ogma and his guiding me to knowledge and understanding has broadened my horizons to know that there is more to the world than the usual Illithid philosophy. And I suspect, perhaps, if I may say so, and I'm not too bold, that it seems to me that you are expanding upon your own philosophies that your race has presented you.
I don't think they've told me. Maybe they don't know. I think maybe things have changed in hundreds of years.
Let me ask you, how would you define madness? What is it to be mad? Madness. How would you define someone who is mad? What features or qualities do the mad possess in your mind?
Either the inability to prevent themselves from doing harm,
the inability to prevent themselves, perhaps because of a prison of the mind. How does one free themselves from such a prison where they are forced to do things because they hold true to perhaps what they've been told to do? If that is our definition of madness.
learn?
I would quite agree with you. Knowledge. To learn is to know, and to know is to be able to inform decisions, and to inform decisions is to pave your own path. That is how I see things, and why I find myself here frequently, underneath the sun, rather than in the Undermountain.
I often feel like an outsider. I'm scary. Not to you, but to others.
You are scary to me as well. Many of my kind have fallen to yours.
I don't mean to be.
I know. And I don't mean to be to you as well, despite our millennia of rivalry. You feel an outsider to the world or to the Gith?
Yes.
I quite understand. Be happy to know that there are those in the world, and the astral plane and beyond, that have opened their minds, much as it seems me and perhaps you have. We are not alone in this world, though we are far and few between.
Thank you.
Is this why you sought me? To know of Ogma and to feel less like an outsider?
I did not know of Ogma. I sought you to meet an illithid that wasn't an enemy. And
Curiosity.
if you're here, then you can't be an enemy.
That is one appeal to this way of thinking, indeed. I might implore you. You have used the knowledge of Ogma. You have come here and studied here. No? That's how you became aware of me. Perhaps the god that is providing you such knowledge might require your... not require, but be deserving of your appreciation.
Okay. And I'll spend the next bit of my time just studying Ogma and spending as much time as the high priest has to hang out and speak deep speech.
Come on, make me a persuasion check. If you spend the next...
I'm gonna make me an illithid.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of the month, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. Yeah, that's not that many. That's a lot of weeks. No, I think that's correct. If you spend the next 5 weeks chilling here in the Font of Knowledge and speaking to him when he arrives and learning of Ogma and stuff, you'll learn of Ogma, and I've pretty much explained the basics. He is the chief god of knowledge in Faerun. He's a greater deity, well loved by bards and wizards and obviously clerics. But maybe a persuasion check pertaining to this illithid you have met.
18.
18. He becomes familiar with you and he has interest in speaking with you and speaking of this outsiderness. At any point, do you tell him of this faction that you seek?
I will.
He says, you seek Chassel. Who? I want you to meet somebody. It will require trust between you and I, as we will be leaving the streets of Waterdeep and descending underneath it. We will deal with that next session, because that's going to be very interesting. We wanted to get this all done this session. We'll tell you what, we got a couple quick minutes. Apoxy, do you want to wait till next session to complete your downtime, or do you want to just rip it out right now? You did.
I was just gonna rip it out, but if Basan needs a buddy to stick with, then I don't mind going with Basan next time.
I would say this is near the end of downtime. This would be like the last week of downtime is when you go to have this little adventure with Basan.
And I would assume that this would need to be between the two of them if it's...
I think if you were like, I'd like to bring a friend for safety's sake, he will not have a problem.
But he's asking for trust, so like I was considering asking whether or not I should bring my weapons.
The trust is, he's saying I would require your trust because he's an illithid, and he would require you as a gift to trust him not to eat your brain, or basically like that he's not taking you into an alley to trap you and eat you. Yeah. That's more where the trust is. So if you wanted to bring a friend along, he wouldn't have any shit. But if you don't, that's okay too.
Yeah, no, I trust him, so.
Got it.
All right.
So Apoxy, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna hang out with Blippi to... I was gonna say hot tag, but now it's just me.
Nice. Okay, you want to hang out with Blippi? You want to do
Waterdeep.
some work for Blippi?
Oh, or that, yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you what. Let's do two things. Let's do 1 week of carousing, 3 weeks of work.
Okay.
See if you can make a contact out of it. He's a craftsman. Drop 50 gold pieces. just to like hang out with him and buy drink and food and gifts and blah blah blah.
Sustain him. Okay, take care of
Sure.
himself.
And then make a
Let's
persuasion
see.
check.
Alright, I'm gonna roll while I do that. I got persuasion?
Persuasion, that's right.
15.
He is now your allied contact. I've
16.
already explained how that all 16, even that's great. Oh, 16.
Oh.
So you get him as a Blippy Longzippy, the Waterdeep artificer, is now your allied contact. And with a 16, you'll get one additional allied contact. Is there any preference there?
Information seeker.
Middle-class people include guild members, spellcasters, town officials, or other folk that frequent well-kept establishments.
Sorry, can you run that one more time real quick?
No problem. Guild members, spellcasters, town officials, or other folks who frequent well-kept establishments.
I'm gonna go with a guild official.
A guild official. Why don't we say like the head of the Tinkerers Guild? We'll say that Blippy introduces you. So mark that down. We'll create an identity for him later. We'll mark down that you are now have an allied contact in the Waterdeep head of the Tinkerers Guild.
Okay.
And how would you like to help Blippy for work for the last 3 weeks? General labor, special tools.
I don't mind doing general labor. Yeah, I'll just do general labor.
Okay, roll me 3 athletics checks.
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah, as a barbarian.
Plus 5, 24 for the first one. Whoa, 23 for the second. Oh my god, 24 for the last.
Damn! You're gonna make... You're gonna make 95 gold pieces over the 3 weeks.
Sweet.
And with that, our downtime is over. Thank you for your patience. That ended up being a little bit longer than I expected. I thought maybe half session might end up going a little longer. So thank you for your patience, everybody. But that will be our downtime. We will see what's going on with the song at the beginning of next session, and what new adventures await the New Dawn next week, as I'm sure the captain has plans for what you guys are to do next. In fact, I'll even insinuate that as the later weeks have been progressing, maybe some news has been spreading around that Lunarbo's been sort of letting on amongst the crew that he has a very special treat planned for what your next job will be. Something that none of you have ever done before. And that is where we will end the session.
Good work, everyone.
Awesome time today.
I'm the proud owner of a depressed urban property.
Yay!
We're going to change that.
I'm now investing in
I was going to say, I'm going to buy a basement.
Buy a basement.
Yeah,
just a basement bachelor apartment.
Bisan will invest. I mean, you'll need security at some point, and
I'll be your camera.
The Beholder's done well in the hospitality business, so everyone's got to have something to retire to.
I know.
Do some space cowboying and then settle down as a bouncer in a comedy club. That ain't bad.
Hey, you guys have the crew of the New Dawn has been active for 84 standard days now out in Wild Space. You guys become friends for a while now.
That's so cool.
I think I will say next session, totally open to, you guys RPing some carousing downtime together, Basan dealing with her stuff. Feel free to have fun with that. Maybe we do some more RP stuff that time. Or we could just jump to what Captain Lunarbo has. Either way, I think I'm pretty excited. Next session, there's going to be some cool stuff happening. Some very cool stuff happening. I look forward to it.
Let's build a comedy club, Chaplain. I'm excited for that.
Oh, I could get some investors.
Yeah, like
Okay.
Prasan doesn't have thousands, but she'll give you a couple hundred gold to get started. I mean, if we're gonna keep coming back to the Rock of Brawl.
Yeah, I mean, we'll only need supplies as fast as we can put them up, so it doesn't all have to exist right at the beginning.
Poxy is quickly learning that money is everything and is terrible about not spending.
If we market it well, we can sell Ed's new loaders and become arms dealers. If we want. There's a good money in arms dealing, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I can't sell my arms. I need
Right,
them.
gang. I gotta head out there. I gotta get started on some dinner.
Yeah.
Same
All
here,
right,
folks.
Have
cheers,
fun.
Bye.